Oh, fuck. Oh, God. Hold on. Hold on, everybody. We're going to make it make sense. Nobody pay attention to the chair stream. Okay. We have that plugged in. Okay. We're here. Let me pull up the goddamn spreadsheet, gang. And we're going to get into the goddamn mix pretty quickly here because I know we have at least two people that have other stuff to be about today. What's up, AK? What's up, Kyle, Seth, Salty, DMC, Relic, Benisatrix 2024, Withers, hello, my darling son or daughter, or creature, depending on your gender. What's up, James? So today I'm going to post the order in chat. On top of this order, Dan and Lady Lag are going to go first and second because they let me know that they have shit they need to be about later on in the day. And then I believe we have at least one makeup, which, James, is it you? One makeup that's not going to be in this initial order that's getting posted. So we are going to be packed to the fucking gills at 8 for today. But again, Budget Coach and Lady Lag are going to go first and second. And then everybody else, we're kind of just going to go by like who's here first. What's up, D-Man? You got a new desk, buddy. Congratulations. All right, Otterfire's here. Budget Coach is here. James is here, obviously. So we still need Lady Lag. Oh, before Twitch does it on my behalf, we're going to do manual ads right now so that we have no pre-rolls and no mid-rolls as we get into the deck roasting. So non-subs, you're going to be banished early, but it's such that you will not have any ads when we get into the good shit. Subs, we're going to talk whole for a few minutes here. No, the stream's not made for kids. Schmackle, there's two ways to submit a deck to roast. You can either be a Patreon member or you can be a Ko-Fi buyer. You have to buy a commission on Ko-Fi. That is an important distinction. You cannot just donate. I have like a Ko-Fi shop and things are sold on there. You super cannot submit decks to roast through Discord. Or like you can, I just won't do them. In our Ko-Fi shop, the first Sunday of every month. So this Sunday, we're going to be selling them again. We sell 18 a month. Can I post a link to the Ko-Fi so I can save it for later? Yes, I can. Twitch notification is still about Mel hating. Oh, fuck. I fixed everything but the going live message. It's still true, though, honestly. It's still true, so who cares? The title's right, the category's right. As long as that stuff is right, the going live message can be whatever. Let me go find my own Ko-Fi link. Hold on. There's the Ko-Fi link. Dale, there's the Ko-Fi link for you. What's up, Gainsworth? Welcome to the stream, my friend. 05871 and Shotgun Raptor, thank you for the Twitch follows. Welcome to the doghouse, my friends. What's up, Zahir? What's up, Morgan? Lady Lag, you're here. Great. So we have, once the ad breaks over, I think we're actually going to get into the business roughly half an hour ahead of schedule because we have the first 3 people all in chat, and I know 2 of them have to go soon. Or, well, one of them, I know one of them has to go very soon, one of them has to go medium soon, and so I think it will be useful to take care of them, to finish them, as it were, ahead of schedule. Yeah, Keon, it's fucking party time. Lil Alien Child, thank you for the 2 months in a row with that Prime sub. I appreciate those Jeffrey dollars. Is the Patreon cap gone yet? Yeah. Idiot. It's if you wait like 15 seconds, you'll see that it's been gone the whole time. Don't look right now. Cuz that's going to be Oh no, I actually did it. I did it. Ha! Ha ha. Yes, the Patreon cap on the $25 tier is gone now, and the messaging on it does reflect that it is not guaranteed. In all caps, I say non-guaranteed roasting opportunity. So I do believe that is clear enough that I can lift the cap without people feeling like they have been stolen from. Professional nuisance, thank you for the Twitch follow. You are in the right stream, my friend. I'm watching the YouTube stream on my TV while I chat on mobile. Is that DJ? No, that's perfect. My analytics, thank you, Poetry Slam. Mauled sweet hell, what have you done for me? I've been playing ranked the last couple days and having a blast, but I've been rocking Rel, Leona support and having a great time. Only 11-10 game-wise, but not a single game has felt bad. All in support tanking feels great, but like this is a problem. Keon, I want to blast you. I'm on the same shit now. I traditionally a mid laner, top laner, bottom laner. I like to play carries. And season 15 made me completely fall out of love with the game. And last night, I finally got my groove back playing Leona support. In part because of somebody I was talking to in Twitch chat who was like, oh, I just like the game because I just like pressing buttons. And I was like, that's so weird. I like the game because I like feeling like I'm winning or outplaying you in the macro state. And so I went to try something new and I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to play support. And playing support, I can enjoy just pressing buttons. I'm like, oh, who cares if I'm developing economic advantage? I'm supposed to be broke. I'm just supposed to hit that guy. Who gives a fuck? If my team is rotating, I'm just on an escort mission for my AD carry's succulent bussy. It doesn't matter if I'm playing the map well. It doesn't matter if I'm maximizing my experience gain. I have my ultimate, and that's all that fucking counts. Now die, Vayne. Like that's what. Yeah, just play. Now I'm just gonna play engage supports, and I'm gonna crash out on everybody I see. Do $50 patrons get any advantage? No, you get shouted out verbally in the videos. There is no advantage to the deck roasting process to being a $50 patron over being a $25 patron. Baby jailing people is like crack this season. Just walking up and telling them, hey, no more league for you. Take a break. Walk your kids. Pet your dog. Thoughts on Hashatan being the best clone commander? I distinctly don't think that's true. I distinctly don't think that's a true statement that you said. They're Esper. They can reanimate clones for 3 mana. So you can cast clones that would normally be more than 3 mana for 3 mana. I don't know if that makes them the best clone commander in the game, though. Best clone commander is Be'lakor Gyruda. Yeah, you're going to hell, MLP. You just stay in the corner where we put you. Best clone commander is Volo. Copy your clones. You're going into timeout. I'm going to give you a warning. I'm going to give you a warning for talking about Simic in this chat. Hashatan's effect is super difficult to interact with. I think that's true, and I also think that's a good thing in the context of discard Reanimator, because Reanimator is just not a fucking good archetyping commander. You can play graveyard decks, But like the only graveyard decks that I see in Commander that do well at all are like Muldrotha and Sephiroth. And Sephiroth has a reanimation effect. That reanimation effect has never meant a goddamn thing against every Sephiroth deck I've ever played. All that matters is they're just dungeon running. They're just like a World of Warcraft lifer. And they're running dungeons, they're running the initiative, they're going to the Undercity as often as possible. And the reanimation thing is just like a cherry on top. Gainsworth 21, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to Doghouse, my friend. White noise while you work. I'm going to get the TikTok live stream set up, and then we're going to begin roasting Budget Coach's deck. If you isn't Marin Reanimator, or am I crazy? She's Reanimator, but she's more of like spreadsheet Reanimator than the type of Reanimator that Hashitan is. Marin, like this, I know the type line says Shaman. This is a fucking accountant. Because the Marin decks that I've seen, they rarely get their experience counters big enough that they're reanimating crazy big things. Most of them are just doing a bunch of absurd value loops with really, really small things. Like Marin wants to kill Steve 800 times a game. Versus something like Hashitan. Okay, I can spell, I swear. Hashitan very much wants you to discard something that either costs a ton to get it for 3 mana, or discard something that has a shitty stat line where the 4/4 stat line can actually mean something, and then you might pay a little bit more for it. So Hashitan is more of a like 1v1 style, hey, guess what, turn 2, it's Archon of Cruelty, motherfucker. Guess what, dipshit? I am the Archon, and I've decided that I'm the Archon of pooping on you a tiny amount. Which is the type of Reanimator I like compared to, Hashitan is a token commander, not a Reanimator commander. Hey, Marquez, the Semantics Police are going to be at your house blowing your dick off in roughly 20 minutes. They're gonna break down your door and they're going to rip your dick off in about 20 minutes. I would say goodbye to it. Prepare yourself. You can build them as a token commander. This is very effectively reanimating the creature, even though they're a token. I just know this deck has Ohertak and Anointed Procession. If you putting token triplers in this deck is going to be the same level of moral purity test as the shopping cart test. It is going to be as extreme a decider of how good a person you are if you're putting token triplers in this deck as if you put shopping carts back after you go to the grocery store. I'm telling you. I'm serious. There's gonna be like there's very much gonna be like 2 camps for this deck. And one camp is going to do everything they can to abuse the fact that it's making a token, and the other camp is going to be people like me who are like, haha, 3 mana, 4/4 Valgavoth. That's silly. That makes me laugh. And we're still bad people, but like we're the bad people that still got into hell. That still got into heaven, but we're like cool on weekends. The rest of you are just bad people. Where'd my drink go? What a Freudian slip, yeah. Green Entertainer, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the Doghouse, my friend. And then, oh, no sound on TikTok. Hold on. What? Okay, how about now? That should be working. If it doesn't work on TikTok, we might have to dump the TikTok stream because it's having... All right, we good. Thank you, Endrex, for shouting that out. Doc Oddkey, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to Doghouse, my friend. There's a range of bad people since there are some people who want to reanimate gingivitis core auger. True, that is going to be terrible. I think, like... reanimating this guy is going to birth a whole new generation of blue haters. And honestly, like, we do deserve it. We do deserve it. Not the wait a minute in YouTube chat. Yeah, this guy is gonna be when we dump a 3-mana tickler on the board with Hashatan, you're all gonna fucking learn. You're all gonna fucking learn as I force you to discard that dumbass token doubler you were saving up money to cast on turn 4. We have no need. We have no need for ramping into Ohertak. All we need is our commander, frantic search, and a copy of Gingivitis. Temet, I find interesting, drawing cards and buffing zombies. I don't know if I find him interesting, but I do think he's a decent Esper zombie commander. I think he's a very good, like, straightforward... Temet is an anime protagonist. He has a very simple, basic workhorse power. He's going to try to end games. He's going to get strong as the game goes on. He's going to beat people to death. Job done. Is it just me, or is Hashatan insane for petitioners? It is literally just you. It is extremely literally just you. You are alone on this island. Don't say baited. You can't just say baited just because you say a dumb thing. You can't be like, is it just me, or do I love sardines on pizza, and then go baited. You can just be like, is it just me, or does 1 + 1 = 3? Baited. Who are you, Cuba Gooding Jr.? Best, yeah, I'm not even reading this shit anymore. Do we have Avacyn for instant speed protection yet? Oh, true. Yeah, you can just discard. Yeah, this is just like, hey, guess what? 4/4 Avacyn. Turn 3. Who cares? Like, you just do turn 1. Turn 1. Oh, shit. This is more than 1 mana. Never mind. I lied. Shut the fuck up, everybody. At some point, you merfolk loot. At some point, you Hashatan. And then you draw, discard your Avacyn, and play it. It's similar to the Duskborn Amanatu, where if you can't get the commander to do its thing, you have a handful of expensive cards you can't cast. I don't necessarily think that's true, because you can just load the deck with other normal reanimate effects. Like, if your Hashatan deck list is 100% draw discard effects, so whether that's wheels or one-off draw discards, and then other things that reanimate creatures from your graveyard, or things like the Overlord of the Baelmerk, Overlord, Jesus. Even if they remove Hashatan, it still functions, because you're not like you're not gonna do a 30 land deck just because you think you can reanimate, because that would be idiotic. There's definitely gonna be Hashatan decks that totally fail to function when Hashatan is removed, because they look at this ability and go, oh, I only ever need 2 colorless and 1 blue mana for the entire game. Yeah, if you do that, you're just as irresponsible as the green players, and you're going to be punished like they are. But if you just go like, okay, I would like every possible way to connive, wheel myself, frantic search, draw, discard, and then you do like normal ramp behavior. Because like Merfolk Looter in this deck, straight up your favorite interaction in this deck is Merfolk Looter, I draw a land drop for the turn, and I discard a really good creature, and then I try to copy it. And I get my land drop, and I get a good creature. Oh no, they removed it because it's a token. As long as I live like 7 turns, I eventually just like Rise of the Dark Realms, or I Living Death, or you do anything that cares about like having good creatures in your graveyard, and then you can win the game. So it's really like the commander is a great cherry on top, but it is not necessary to the deck's function. It's not 100% necessary. Oh, thank you, baby.
Careful, it's hot.
Oh, I appreciate that so much. Tortured Existence would be hella useful in that deck. Oh yeah, Tortured Existence is another like, I don't think this is a morality test, but I think this is going to be Hashatan's Rhystic Study. The games in which you get to resolve a Tortured Existence versus the games in which you don't get to resolve Tortured Existence are going to be so wildly different, that I think just playing this card in your Hashatan deck means you're high power. I think as soon as you play it in the deck, you're gonna go up. It's already $9 fucking. They found the tech. Everybody found this tech within 10 seconds of Hashatan being released. How do I check the price data? January 17th or 20th, it was still $1.50. It was always pretty good. It was always pretty useful. And then the like 21st, which I think is around when these things started getting spoiled. And now it's just crazy up. Wall Snuggler, thank you for the tier 1 Twitch sub for the 4th month in a row. Happy 3rd anniversary. Welcome back to the dog home, my friend. Why are there 2 of me? Why are there 2 of me? Huh? Oh my fucking god. TikTok has been getting the wrong stream the whole time. That's why. Hold on. Oh, scenes. There we go. Yeah, TikTok has been getting goddamn recursive mauled from the wrong display rather than getting the actual cards and decks we're looking at. Okay. There we go, TikTok. Oh, get the fuck out of here. Oh, it's Brand. We're doing deck roasting, which we're going to get into in just a moment. House, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the doghouse, my friend. Normal TikTok, get out of here. The other day I board wiped, blew up all lands, then stole the Elf Ball player's Llanowar tribe. He scooped and left the LGS while saying he was being bullied. Who was the cringe lord there? I think it depends a lot on the person. A persistent idea that's been growing in my mind is actual game actions really struggle to be funny or be bullying. there's a lot of times where you can almost always justify most game actions. There are a few things that are very obviously over targeting someone who's not a threat. There are a few things that are obviously really silly, like for instance, using the new Radiant Lotus to float 1,000,000 mana for somebody else while you're playing your lock and you give them mana burn and they die. But like 90% of game actions are not inherently funny and also not inherently mean. All of them are only given context by how you pilot them. If that's just if you were like, I'm going for the win, once I remove all of your ability to create mana, there's nothing you can do to stop me, and I'm just going to get the win. That's not inherently funny, but it is like a totally reasonable game action to win the game. If they just have some like emotional problem with feeling like they lack agency, like losing agency in games is typically a very frustrating thing. It's not wrong to be frustrated by that. Their reaction to it is not correct in my mind, but there's a lot of context that I'm missing. Now, if you blew up, like if you board wiped, blew up everybody's lands, and then they tried to rebuild and you stole their rebuilding piece, like that's a cold move. It's a cold world. It's elf eat elf out here. We're in the streets, okay? We've moved past the forest. We don't have vines, we have gutters. And they're running with the blood of our family members. And if you can't handle that, sometimes you just got to scoop it up. Now, if you leave the LGS after, like maybe they had had bad games before. Maybe there were other things that had happened in the night that made them feel overly targeted. And I'm willing to bet that it's probably something like that. Like whenever we do something that we think is an extreme reaction, we oftentimes chalk it up to circumstances surrounding whatever happened. When other people do things that we think is a wrong or bad reaction, we often chalk it up to being an immutable characteristic of who they are as people. So they may have just they were probably just having a really bad day, and they wanted to, especially if they were playing elves. Elf ball players secretly just want to play Legos and show and tell at the same time. Elf ball players just want to force you to look at their Lego sets. And so that's what they probably wanted to do that night. And if they had been stymied previously, and then, okay, this person blew up my elves, okay, this person blew up my lands, okay, I got one elf down, and then they took it, that was their breaking point. I don't think it's cringe that you wiped everything and then stole their rebuilding piece. I think that is if anything, I think if you board wipe Armageddon and then you don't steal their ability to rebuild, you are not playing seriously. If your plan is okay, I'm doing World Slayer Avacyn, I want to wipe everything you own from reality, and then I'm going to beat you to death when you can't resist me, and you don't continue to smother them, then you're playing with your food, and I think that's cringe. I think if you're going for stuff like this, finish the job, get to game 2. So I don't think it was cringe that you did that. I think it was, they probably got overwhelmed, which happens, some people go into this game. It's tough because this is both a cooperative and a competitive game. If you're not to some degree cooperating with your opponents to try to make sure that you have the same expectations about the game, you're going to get to a lot of bad feeling moments. But ultimately, you are trying to murder each other, and you got to keep that up here. What's up, Grungy Gay? Welcome to the stream, my friend. Xpoovy, it's better to watch on Twitch. Same goes for everybody on YouTube. I am immensely happy that anybody is willing to watch me yap in the first place. But in terms of just raw analytics, watching live on Twitch and then watching back VODs on YouTube is the min-maxer support method. Daddy Derek, thank you for the Prime sub. Welcome to the dog home, my friend. I appreciate those Jeffrey dollars. Okay, maybe now we can actually get into budget coach's deck. NNY the Manic, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to Doghouse, my friend.
Couldn't get this key to work for the car.
Are you doing the special start? Are you holding down start for a while?
Yeah.
Okay. 1 second, everybody. I gotta go start a car. I'll be right back. Second ad break. Okay. It's finally time. We're finally here. It's all happening. That one guy who I am not based out of Central Florida, no. I'm also not based out of California. I'm not telling any of you where I live, but it's not those two places. Your audio is very quiet on stream. Randy, I have no idea how to fix that. I'll keep it a stack with you. Because like half my YouTube viewers say it's quiet, half say it's fine. And the only audio soundboard I have is the one on OBS. And that one is like good loudness. Mald is actually my neighbor. I live in Redacted. That's true. I am Redacted. Do you do EDH gameplay outside of MTG Nerd Girls channel? I accept every EDH gameplay invitation I get. I just don't get invitations. So I've done Tabletop Jocks, right? Tabletop Jocks has me on basically anytime we're both at a convention together, and Joe's super cool. So I've been on a couple episodes of Tabletop Jocks. My girlfriend and I are going to be on Scry Babies soon, but we haven't filmed that yet. And then I've been on Elder Dragon Hijinks a few times. So yes, I do plenty of gameplay outside of Nerd Girls channel, but Nerd Girls channel is the one that has me on most frequently. Okay, so maybe stream settings. Let me look on YouTube and see if there's like a separate audio mixer or something. Low gain in YouTube. Okay. They're throwing a bunch of words at me that I do not understand. I'm supposed to use a compressor? What the fuck is that, dude? It's loud for me, and I only have it at half volume. Excellent. Isn't Wally a compressor? MLP, you really are an op, huh? Okay. So, and the thing is, my gain is like really high too. Like the people that are talking about having this issue on YouTube are talking about, oh, my gain's like minus 15 decibels. My gain is positive 5 decibels. I sound fine on TikTok. Okay. Mod streams are always quiet for me. So I think we just have a lot of like, I know that in aggregate the YouTube streams are a little quiet, but I think in general we just have a lot of like conflicting opinions about how loud shit normally is. Okay, budget coach, are you here? Are you ready? I'm going to try to be on task for at least 5 minutes. All right, you're here and ready. So, we can now, literally 30 minutes after I said we're going to get started 30 minutes ahead of schedule, we're now on time. My patron supporters, or in some cases, people who have purchased a roast through Ko-Fi, send me a deck list, a primer, and a power level. Your power level cannot be 1 through 10 because it's wrong and bad. The power level we accept is the silly to spooky to scary rating originally developed by Danny Phantom EXE. It is a measure of how ominous your turns are to somebody that is paying attention and knows Magic the Gathering. Your primer is a 1-paragraph description of how you think the deck plays, or if the deck doesn't play like you want it to, how you want it to play. It's your message to me about what your little tapestry is, and it's what I'm going to judge you on. I'm going to judge if you have successfully achieved what you have set forth, whether that is swaddling a baby or smothering it. That's the recurring joke. It's taken 7 months, but that's the one we're going to keep using. So, Dan Budget Coach has sent in a silly deck. This deck started as a terrible mono red list that pretty much only worked when the planets aligned. So my playgroup agreed that adding a second color via a background was appropriate. Hold the fuck on, you got a pity color? Beating buddies by bonking big butts. Okay, so we're doing toughness matters and you got a goddamn pity color. This deck focuses on getting big butts on the field and then getting them past security by making them unblockable and then slapping my opponents in the face with my commander. It's a decent budget list that can get some sneaky surprise KOs. It's roughly at the power level I'd like it to be, but it has some trouble keeping up after surprise smacking one opponent. Okay. So first of all, shout out Budget Coach for having the social wherewithal to sell whatever this goddamn second color is. Because that's a hard thing to do. Partner is one of the greatest mistakes in Commander's history, and Budget Coach somehow convinced their friends to be like, yeah, you can have partner. You can just have it. So Manichi, the Fevered Dream, a 3-mana 1/2 that for 2 mana can swap power and toughness. This has to be one of the worst creatures I have ever seen. And you gave him white? You gave him double strike. You said my toughness matters deck is struggling. Oh Lord, what do I do? How do I get more reliable? How do I get more staying power? And you said I need Boros? Oh, each creatures. That's funnier. I like the commander more now. The fact that you were like, I need white. I need the welcoming arms of white to improve my commander's staying power in this commander game. Hertan, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the doghouse, my friend. The background itself is not, well, it is. The background itself is bad. I think the background itself is bad in the context of what this commander's ability does, because Flaming Fist wants you to go really tall with your commander, and the 29 creatures and the commander switching each makes it sound like we're trying to go at least kind of wide. And you just don't get to go tall and wide. Like when you are in the Word document with your commander deck and you have the word good categorized under how you want the deck to do, you can either pull it tall or you can pull it wide, but you can't diagonal pull it. At least without green. All right, big butts, a 2-4, a 2-6, a 0-7, and another way to assign toughness equal to power. What is this curve, brother? A 1-5. I do like the art, though. A 1-4, a 1-10, that's better. A 3-6, a 4-9. But we take double damage. Some guys will do anything for ass, dude. It's me. I'm some guys. I would take double damage for the rest of my life. A 2-10, that's great. A 2-9 that does our commander's effect. 1-7, 1-3. Oh, but at least we get a little bit of impulse draw. It's me, Fuzzy D. Thank you for the Prime sub. Welcome to the dog home, my friend. I believe 0 power creatures do die on flip, but I think if you have Balden, you don't have to do the flip. Balden's a 0-7, but like notably, they haven't done that anywhere else because Balden means you don't have to activate the ability. Oh, and then Alphabet Soup Dinosaur just because, for sure. This switches power and toughness on its own. This one actually, so everything in here is fucking ridiculous. This one seems the most unreasonable on its own because the costing of its stat swap is priced into the creature. The creatures in here that are clever are the ones like Indomitable Ancients, where you get a 4 mana 10-2. This is a 5 mana 7-1, which is a much, much worse rate. But doesn't the commander not discriminate? Yeah, but nothing says you have to activate the commander. Like if you have Balden and you have a board full of big butts, you just swing everything and you don't activate Manichi, and then everything is fine. No, Balden says each creature, and everything in this deck has a huge ass. Everything in this deck is completely caked up and is chungling down to shit in your mouth. And so since Balden says each, we just swing with everything. And then all of these, like none of these have to swap to get the benefit. Yeah, Balden doesn't discriminate either. Inject Botox in that butt. Why do we have so much BBL pieces? Oh, this is the surprise. So this is where I think we're getting a little bit lost. We will return again, but these are the loans we're taking out to pay for our plastic surgery. How do these work with layers? Top 10 questions I'm never going to fucking think about. Make the butts sneak past their censorship. Target creature with power 2 or less gains haste. Okay, so it just can't be blocked stuff. That is fair. Wipe their butt. So I'm presuming you have multiple board wipes because you keep losing, and we can fix that. I think, actually, this is a normal number. You have 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3 is fine. Well, I pay 2 mana when 1 mana do trick, so we have our commander's effect again. This card is funny, and I own it, so I'm going to use it, but... So its toughness is 1, but we can change it to 1 more than whatever it's blocking, and then we can use it to kill that thing. That's kind of funny. slap the right cheek and the left cheek. So we have a couple ways to get double strike. Oh, so we have a couple ways to like double things to give Manichi a surprise big butt. We have gates for no fucking reason. Huh? Why do you have half of a Maze's End deck in here? No. There is a gate payoff. Okay. So you have that one gate that like buffs something based on how many other buildings you have. Basilisk Gate. So you are rat fucking your own mana production for the 1 day payoff of, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1 day you could potentially give your commander +8/+8 if you have pulled every gate, every unsearchable gate out of your library. You have given up on your ability to play things on curve or create the pips you need to play Magic in the vain hope that 1 day you will play every land in your fucking deck and then give your commander +8/+8. Like the... Hey, I'm going to show you. So, crazy gates tech. I'm going to show you something even crazier that I think will work with it. I have beaten the Gond gate payoff. I have now devastated your gate payoff for 2 mana, and now in my utopia, we get to float red mana and white mana instead of colorless mana. There's an enchantment in the buff section that buffs things based on gates. Oh, all creatures you control get +0/+1 for each gate you control. Okay. Now I'm rocking with you a little bit better. It's still terrible, but at least there's a vision. Okay, so overall, what's heinous about this deck to me is that it is like a dead-ass 50-50 split between trying to Voltron your commander and just trying to do this whole toughness swapping thing, which generally means you don't get to do anything well. That enchantment is a non-bow with the commander. I don't think that's true, right? Like, I think it buffs their toughness and then you swap their power and toughness and then... Don't the swaps with the commander mean... Yeah. What? Okay, we're going to the playtest. We're going to the goddamn playtest. Oh my god, a fucking page counter, bro. Hey, we got a gate, though. We win, right? Who needs to play on curve? We're all having a good time. We're all friends here. Who needs to play on curve? It's turn 4. Nobody's going to have done anything bad to us. I get to remove a page counter from this. And this is just a fucking 1/1 with double strike. This is just a goddamn piece of draft chaff. This is a draft build around. Turn 5, we do another gate. Oh, it's the Basilisk Gate. Big payoff, big payoff, big payoff. We have 2 gates. I think the best thing we have is we flash. Like, we have flash in Stone Skin. And then... So turn 5, we play this. We look for a swing. We can't actually do it because we don't have the mana, because we need 7 mana to double everything and then flip it. So we probably like, I mean, endoskeleton is practically worthless here. Or actually, we'll just play this behemoth. We'll play this behemoth to get the effect passively. And then we'll use our other page counter to draw a card. Now we don't get to use that anymore. Is this built to play against the Aether Drift Precon? Yeah, you and the energy deck are going to get locked in a room for 10 years, budget. So turn 6, we have a swap for free. So we do this and this, and then Manichi can kill somebody. Manichi can kill somebody, but only if we have a good attack, because we... Oh, do we have enough mana to do this too? So this is 3, 5, 8. God. I think we have to just look for... We just look for a good attack with our 2-1, and then we try to go, surprise, you die. And now we've killed one person. So we have Instagram star BBL equipped to Manichi. We have a persistent flipper. And now this creature's useless. This creature is not totally useless. Posted on the block. Thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the doghouse, my friend. What's up, Joe? Now, another thing we have to consider about the Gates package is we do have to produce colorless mana for this Eldrazi. This is one of the single best cards in our deck, which gives me a little bit of heartburn to say. So we need to fuck ourselves on our own color pips because we have to be able to make colorless, which is an insane decision. I think immediately the premise is funny. The fact that your playgroup was willing to let you have a second color should have been the canary in the coal mine moment for you. And I think I think the reason this deck consistently falls off after surprise killing one person is you do have 1 foot firmly in we're going wide, and you have 1 foot firmly in my Voltron commander is jump scaring you. We have 15 cards dedicated to having other guys that are going to get flipped. We have 15 cards dedicated to making sure that one guy flips for a really big amount of damage. And then we have like a pretty normal amount of, if anything, a kind of light amount of ramp. We have 38 lands, which is fine. We are honestly low on evasion. We had break through the line, but like to get... We have to do a lot of setup, which is not wrong for a silly deck. But like half the cards we draw are setting up for a totally different thing than the other half of the cards we draw. Like when we draw Zatalpa is actually not fucking helping us for a moment. This is our emotional support pterodactyl. It's not actually doing anything to make us win the game. It's just like maybe this will be an 8/8 that can flip its stats one day. Shrike Force, goddamn useless. So what I would do is I would cut every big butt creature that does not have like a fucking crazy good effect. I think like Baldin can stay. I think Efreet Flame Painter can't fucking stay. I was gonna say they could, but you don't have enough instants of sorceries that are worth a goddamn. Like Essence of Antiquity can stay, maybe. But this is definitely a deck that would benefit from deciding whether it wants to count to 40 or count to 21 in terms of killing people. And whatever you cut, you don't even need to like change the theme. It's just like whatever theme you go for, you support that with shit like draw engines. Like, hey, look, now I get to have cards. I have resolved that my ass is so fat I need cards to fuel it. Please, please, sir, give me some goddamn cards. It doesn't have to be like crazy good stuff. You don't have to. I am for sure not recommending that you need like Smothering Tithe, Esper Sentinel, all of that bullshit. But even at a budget level, half of us is like, I want the biggest, fattest ass possible, and half of this is like, I want to line up straight out of a rap video. And you don't have to pick one to play Magic baseline, but you're gonna play Magic a lot better. Stormblast, you are crazy. You can do the swaps after. They don't reapply with the layering. They do not reapply after you do the buff. Like you just with these auras, you give +0, +10, and then the commander swaps it, and the buff doesn't check again. The buff is just like, I'm cool. I did my thing already. My job is done. Please give me my minimum wage, 21 points of damage to someone else's life total. So I think your two separate play patterns are connected by the funny word, I like big butts and I cannot lie. Like these are two separate play patterns that Sir Mix-a-Lot would be equally drawn to, but they are not two play patterns that are actually connected by the engines that you have. And so if you wanted to keep it at the same power level but just make it a little bit more reliable, I would highly, highly recommend deciding whether or not you want to do, whether you want like Manichi to be the hero or if you want Manichi to be the quarterback. Because you could for sure do something that's like, hey, this is my Walmart Arcades deck, where I play Manichi the strategist, and I have a lot of these like silly ass creatures that shouldn't be super good in Commander, but they're only in here because they have a objectively hilarious stat line. But if you want to do my commander jump scares you and murders you, then I would really, really recommend cutting down on a lot of these other big butts and just keep the best butts. You want to be butt maxing, but you want to butt max for quality rather than quantity. Ninja Crow, we're also streaming live on Twitch and YouTube. Somebody's recommending Gemini Engine. I don't think this is that good. This is a 6 mana 4/4. This is like, you would play this in some type of silly like artifact sacrifice deck. That's actually incredible, Grime, that you recommended this for this deck. This deck is actually above this. True. This might be a petitioner's angle. Can we get your table to add a third color? Can we get your table to add a third color, make this Jess guy, and then you can do persistent petitioners? Hell yeah, above Gemini Engine. We got there. Like I think Flame Speaker, this is one you could keep because it's at least a little bit of like on theme card draw engine. And I'll tell you what, if you want to do Voltron, you can also get into stuff like Tempered in Solitude. Red really loves, like, red and white do love, when a motherfucker attacks alone, we gotta gas him up. Red and white love Makara. They love sending one soldier, one samurai out by himself to handle business. So you can do it. And again, the background you have is 100% I want to do Voltron coded. If we look at, let me look at other backgrounds before I decide if you've like very clearly missed an objectively better option. Okay. You know what? That's my fault. I typed it in the wrong line. I'm a bad person. That's my fault. So we don't have ETBs. Guild Artisan doesn't even give us an extra color. We don't really care about making tokens. Our commander's not big, so we don't care about Hardy Outlander. We're not doing... I mean, I know it's not thematic. I struggle to believe Raised by Giants would not do more work for you. I do not think we want Noble Heritage. I mean, it does grow our commander, but I think Double Strike is doing more than growing the commander passively with how easy Voltron is. Now, I will say, to echo what Dungeon Masters said, my first thought for a deck like this was to go Izzet, not even to do normal Spellslinger stuff, but just because blue is really great at low cost fat asses. I thought about Tavern Brawler just for the impulse, but then we don't get the second color. Ooh, yeah. That would be my personal rec, which I understand might get a little too far away from your premise for you to want to do it. So I'm not gonna demand that you change up your colors on me, but I do think the Voltron plan the Voltron plan is also well served by Sword Coast Sailor. But that said, if you do want to do Commander Voltron, white as a color is probably more useful than blue as a color. If you want to go wide, blue is probably the more useful color because you're going to have a lot more creatures that just have like incredibly good toughness and incredibly low mana cost. Because like blue, crab time. Crab time, you play one island, you make it a 1/16, swap that shit on them. Swap that shit on them. Easy. But if you want to stay Boros, I would just pick between wide and tall, and whatever you pick, cut everything but the best options from what you're leaving behind, and then do things like, I mean, this might be... I think we're a $200 deck, a 50-cent card, probably on budget. Do things like Ren's Resolve. Do things like... Oh, I'm trying to think of all the other impulse draw. We also did Tempered and Solitude. Now, what I wouldn't do is I wouldn't do a lot. You could do a little bit of like Thrill of Possibility stuff. I would not do a lot of this because I do think you're going to run out of cards. I do think your hand size is going to shrink as you do useful things, and you want to keep your total amount of available cards open to you. All right, so we're going to place you, and I think it will come at no surprise that you are a greedy soap opera. I like the premise of this deck. Brought to you by Sir Mix-a-Lot is a tremendous thesis statement for the deck, but then I think you tried to do two different play patterns with equal gusto, and they're connected by certain verbs. Both play patterns want to beat people to death, but they want to do it in very different ways, and you're just left without having the gas for either of them to really fully work, and you can just make two different decks. Great quote from my friend Kuro Hitsuki: every problem you have in Commander can be solved by an additional Commander deck, and I think that's very true right here. You have a Voltron deck and you have a Go Wide deck. You could even build two different Minichi decks that had a background, that one serves Voltron, one serves Go Wide, but right now you're kind of like half serving both. You're a Chipotle worker. You're a Chipotle worker and you're half scooping the goddamn chicken. Mentor of the Meek would be good for this deck if we stayed wide. I think if we go Voltron, probably not worth it because we're not going to be playing as many creatures to begin with. But if you wanted to do wide Boros butts, then yeah, Mentor of the Meek's pretty hot. So next, we're going to have Lady Lag. Lady Lag, are you here? Lady Lag is here. Beautiful. We have one. Helios is going to cry out one more time for Rasad Eden Bashir. Each creature you control assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. Whenever he attacks, you have the initiative double the toughness of each creature you control. Oh yeah, here's your go wide commander. Just make a deck with this guy, and have him be the go wide one, and then you get to choose a background just legally, and then have Manichi be the Voltron deck. And then your life is perfect. And then every problem in your life is fixed as a result of Maultown's Twitch chat. Bob, we're not building anything ourselves. We are deconstructing my viewers' poor decisions with their decks. Is he... Yeah, he's like 5 cents. It'd be cheap as hell. Thank you for submitting, Budget Coach. Velico, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the doghouse, my friend. Sledgehammer backgrounds, just set your deck size to 98. You still have 100 total cards. All right, so Twitch chat, we're going to hit one more. We're going to hit the manual ad break so that Lady Lag does not get any mid-roll ads. And then I'm going to suck down this food. I'm going to suck down some food, and then we're going to get into Lady Lag's deck. Don't AO me, MLP. Listen, MLP, you've gotten a little too... You're really good at playing the opposition. I'll just say that. You're really good at playing the opposition. When will you pay? When will I pay you? Never. You are never getting your motherfucking money, MLP. Why am I even here? You gotta butter the toast, bro. Iceman, thank you for the $2 super chat. Welcome to Dog Heaven, my friend. Can I get a smash or pass on Bright Glass Gear Hulk? I'll do anything for $2. Wood. There appears to be some form of, I mean, not the Thanos art, but the base art. There appears to be some form of liquid in here. This could feel like Jello. It's entirely possible. It's entirely possible that this could feel like Jello. Seems pretty sharp. I mean, a lot of it's sharp, but it's so, like, this is a person right here. It's so big that you just have to find a port. I'm sure they put a port. I'm sure they put an appropriately sized port somewhere on this machine for that express purpose. That's all KY. Are you sure that's not just ether in its chest? I don't care if it is. I'm trying to fuck around and find out. Adamatsui, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the doghouse, my friend. He drift in my aether till I cycle. Keon, this is Selesnya nonsense. What's up, Jimmy Dean? Till I Hulk. Okay. We've eaten the food. We have 20 seconds until the ad break is over. And then we're going to hit Lady Lag's deck. Oh, till I spark. He drift in my aether till I aether spark. Yeah, drift in my aether till I spark. Drift in my aether till I spark. That's the final line. Junkie Boy 8429, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the doghouse, my friend. Yeah, Scaboni, I don't really know how the ad break works. There's a counter on my screen that's like, it's definitely over for everybody at this point, and so I wait until it's definitely over for everybody. Junkie Boy, thank you for the Prime sub. I appreciate those Bezos bucks very, very much, my friend. And Zetosuru and Bigly Smalls, thank you for the Twitch follows. Welcome to the doghouse. So moving on to Lady Lag's deck. My Magar deck is aimed to be a relatively budget deck meant for quick matches, with the silliness of I am swinging at you with my unblockable double striking Army of the Damned, so I'll be making 26 tapped zombies. Yeah, that's silly. It is a combo deck with every piece being on field or in graveyard, hopefully giving many interaction points. So, before we even look at the list, I think this is a really good learning moment. First, learning about how Lady Lag's definitely going to hell. Second, how different people define silly differently. Because the way Lady Lag is defining silly is actually a relatively common definition once you get off the internet, which is if my deck has failure points, if my deck has big glowing red spots where you can get a critical hit like I'm an enemy in a video game, then it's silly. And decks that are strong have those weak points hidden, or I have counter magic to cover those weak points, versus I'm just going to flop my massive zombie ball sack onto the table and hope you can't do anything about it. So let's see what's actually in the list. Alright, since it's Magar, I'm expecting a totally cursed mana curve. Wildly responsible. Wildly responsible. It's 9:40. Magario party. Okay, I'm with it. I'm back in. It's 9:45 p.m. You've been at your LGS since 6 that evening and have only gotten 2 matches in. You take a deep breath, pondering if you should have ordered a sandwich before they closed the kitchen. The trains are running with a delay, and it's cold out. Not quite worth leaving yet. It's time for a speed game. It's time to turn off your brain. It's time for Magar. So let's look at this primer. Cards tagged with no tutor will not be searched for to prevent linear gameplay. Immediately I'm upset. I will elaborate on that in a moment. Low cost, quick matches, group slug. Fun for the enemies. Make it feel good to get hit in the face with a game-ending spell. Avoid spells that target a single player as primary targets. Keep the combo on the field / in the graveyard. So while I do believe in Army of the Damned as a Magar card in general, I do also agree with chat that it's corny as fuck to have things that you specifically don't tutor. I think if you have cards in the deck, if you're going to bring tutors, you should be bringing tutors either because there is not a consistently correct choice for what you tutor. Like you should not be able to judge. I'm fucking up so many words right now. If you want to bring tutors, either you shouldn't be able to judge before the game even starts what you're going to tutor for with 100% accuracy, or the thing you're doing should be so bad that tutoring for it doesn't win you the game. So if we have a bunch of things in here that are like, oh, well, I could just tutor for this and win, but I'm not going to because I'm such a nice guy, I think that's nice guy TM. Precon, go fuck yourself. Might be too strong. Niche, no, this is fine. This is perfect for the deck. Payoff. So we're goading things so they can't be blocked. No. We can't go from I have an infinite with savage beating to one of my payoffs is I get a 3/3 that attacks every combat. You can't tell me, don't worry guys, I'm vampiric tutoring but not for the infinite. By the way, here's my deck's anchor, Dragon's Rage Channeler. Oh wait, the payoff Surveil 1. Even fucking worse. Gutter Snipe is ridiculous. Sentinel Towers, why the fuck are we storming? Hold on. Okay. I will reserve judgment on these 4 cards until I see greater evidence of how on earth this deck would want to storm off. Lot of removal, which honestly kind of makes sense if you're going for a quick game because you need to keep people open to be hit with your Magar cards. Trickery. Yeah, normal red interaction. Okay, so we're putting things... Yeah, so we're tutoring things directly into grave. Savage Beating is really the only card I take issue with. Honestly, like, get fucking tutor anger. What? This is not pulling your punches. This is like refusing to even throw a punch. Enabler. Drawbridge for haste. Unblockable. Double strike, which is cute. Unblockable. Then ETB tapped, which, I mean, we need the haste for sure. We need the haste a lot more than we need them to enter tapped. Too much do. Thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the doghouse, my friend. This is the type of don't tutor list. Anger and Filth are on here. This is somebody who would offer to pay for your medical bills after accidentally brushing your shoulder in the street. This card draw is extremely correct. You want to be able to discard whatever you want at all times. 3/3s. We have Army of the Damned. We have Blood for the Blood God, which makes sense. Breach the Multiverse also makes sense. I'm not really sure how much I like Call Forth the Tempest, particularly in the context of like quick games. I don't think this actually does a lot to bring about the end of the game. This is just kind of like Rakdos, I'm going to begin shitting out value, and I'm going to wipe your whole board. Disrupt Decorum, I do like. Ensnared by the Mara, I like that. Theft is based as hell. Plague Wind is reasonable. Don't like this. I don't think this is concise enough. Because it's like, okay, I lose 4 life. Because going back to this is very much a deck of like, this was a deck built with other people's feelings in mind, which is not always an incorrect way to build decks, but it can lead you down poor paths where in trying to stay on this like each player has to suffer, we're making them suffer in way, or we can like make ourself discard. So it's really not that bad, but I still don't like it as a 3/3 because I feel like what happens is you just end up being a control deck. Rise of the Dark Realms I fuck with. Savage Beating is tough because it is just an infinite. I've looked at other Magar decks before, and a very consistent recommendation is if you don't want to be a scary deck, you should dump Savage Beating. If you do want to be a scary deck, you should tutor more for Savage Beating. Yeah, making a 6/6 dragon creature token is pretty fucking based. So overall, I think this is like relatively responsible, but it has a few places where we have replaced the buckshot with marshmallows because we felt bad. I am also a believer that fuck you in particular is funnier than most people think. I think a big problem, interestingly, the phenomenon that has most often led to really long commander games in my experience is trying to leave everybody alive. Not everyone gets to be in the fucking picture at the end. Some people don't make it to the end of summer camp. Jason Voorhees just gets a couple every game. It's fine. It's a thing that happens. And I've traditionally found that being able to either knock a player out or at least pressure a player, so cards that are just gently tickling everybody, I think should be replaced with individual player removal. Because a lot of times it's appropriate to just kill somebody. Like sometimes there's always a threat. The table is never equally threatening. With a commander like Magar, you're probably the threat. If you don't want to tutor filth because you think it's too mean, you're probably not the threat, but we're going to turn you into one. And so the things that are doing really, really gentle damage to everybody, I think should be replaced by something that is going to do a fuckload of damage to whoever the problem player is. Because if you want a quick game and you murder one person, that house of cards starts collapsing pretty quickly. But if you try to leave everybody alive and kill them in like a big photo finish, you're allowing everybody else to get the cards and get the mana to interact to such a degree that the game is going to be really extended. So let me just see how it playtests. Because I don't think, like, for the most part, I like this deck. I think we just have a few places where, like, you have the boxer syndrome of like you killed somebody once and now it's haunting you forever, and now you're just afraid to punch that kid in the mouth even though he deserves it. So I'd say like anger and filth, tutor that shit. Tutor that shit, because I would say in the average game you probably have better things to tutor. And then I would probably cut Savage Beating just because that seems a little too good for the level of deck you want to be playing. So what do we get? A bounce land? Cut this shit. Here. You know what? You can keep it. Fuck! I can't make you discard a hand size turn 1 because you drew the basic. I hate you. I hate you. Okay, so we have ensnared by the Mara, so I'm just going to rip that. Great, so we have Call from the Tempest and ensnared by the Mara. Turn 3. Can't play my commander because I had this fuck-ass bounce land, but I can do Everflowing Chalice for 1 charge counter. I now play my commander behind curve because I'm a little punk, because I'm a little bitch. I'm actually going to... I'm going to rock this because I'm going to believe that the people you play Magic with know that Magar is foul and are going to be ready to kill him as soon as he shows up. Holy shit, Jay Arlington. Thank you so much for the raid, my friend. Shout out our go, Jay Arlington. And we're going to go ahead and continue testing one of the stinkiest Magar decks we've seen. Yeah, Sword Follow, unfortunately, my bounce land hatred is going to have to stop soon because they are just getting really goddamn good. They keep printing more double-sided lands, and if you mulligan responsibly, bounce lands are good every time. I just hate them because I had to discard to hand size once when I was playing the earliest iteration of my budget Niv Mizzet deck, and I've never forgiven them. Anyway, turn 5. We play a tapped land, but now we can do Magar, Treasure, Chalice, and Ensnared by the Mara gets to be on our field. Turn 6. We have Evolving Wilds. We definitely go Thieves' Tools. Thieves' Tools, put it on, Ensnared by the Mara. Now we get value. Trader Podcast, thank you for the 5 gifted subs, my friend. Welcome to Dog Heaven. I appreciate that generosity so much, my friend. And now, let's see, we have some good interaction. So that's very positive. We can exile the top 3. Look at the cards in each pile. Then turn a pile of your choice face up. An opponent chooses one pile. Okay, so we pretend we cast this. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to show them this pile and hope that they make us flood, and then we have Anger in the graveyard, and then we can maybe actually play Magic the Gathering. That would be pretty fucking cool. Thank you, Trader. Have a good time. Have a good day, my friend. And then we have Voluminous Blast. But, like, it's turn 7. We can get one other creature out. But the only thing the only other thing we could get is Call forth the Tempest, which let's pretend we did that and we got to Cascade twice. We get Hurl Through Hell, so another removal spell. And fucking DRC, we get a goddamn 3/3. We get a goddamn 3/3 that has to attack every turn. Is our big fucking hits, you guys. Big fucking hits. Here he is to ruin your goddamn playtest. So I think the accolade I have to give you is you probably take your turns really fucking fast if this strikes you as a fast deck. It's turn 7, which has probably taken like a clear fucking hour at the average Commander game, and we just windmill slammed. Do we even have a 3/3? We would have sacked Evolving Wild. So we have land, instant. Do we have a sorcery? We have a creature. Oh, and these are still in the grave. So we do. Yeah, we just windmill slammed a goddamn 3/3 that has to attack. As our big finish for the day. So what I would do is we have to trim the fat a little bit. I think these Urabrask is ridiculous. Stormkiln Artist is ridiculous. Sentinel Tower is ridiculous. Gutter Snipe is ridiculous. DRC, I will not dignify them with any more words. These 5 cards do nothing for you. Bothersome Quasit, downright fucking reasonable, just as a way to remove a few more blockers. These 5 cards are just for like a whole ass different deck. Urabrask has to be you just had this, right? Be honest with me. Hey, this is a safe space. This is a safe space. You just had this motherfucker, didn't you? You paid for it? No. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to make a different Urabrask deck. And all 5 of these cards can go into the Urabrask deck. You have a head start on your Urabrask deck. Tombkeeper Yorick, thank you for the prime sub, my friend. I appreciate those Bezos bucks. Welcome to the dog home. But all 5 of those have to go. I think Call Forth the Tempest can be revisited when these 5 cards get replaced by better things. But Rankle's Prank for sure, Savage Beating for sure, I do not think create enough impact to be worth doing if your goal is, I want a fast game. And so then you have 7 cards to work with. Kilroy, thank you for the 100-bit cheer, my friend. Welcome back to Dog Heaven. You have 100 things to work with. Do you have a creature type on what you make? This is a typeless creature, and so we can't do the like intimidate type stuff. Unblockable. Saturn 6, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the doghouse, my friend. 38 lands is very reasonable, James. A lot of people have been have had their brains poisoned by the friendly mulligan. 38 is actually like super normal. But a lot of people run 33 because they either like mulligan very heavy or are really happy to just not be able to play commander for the night. But 38 is like, 38's a very solid number. They're not on 33, they're on, yeah, they're on 38. I think 36 plus 10 can work. Oh, you probably want shit like this for sure. You at least want to like trade out a land with access tunnel. This is 2 or less. I forgot to add the Rakdos color thing onto here. You have break through the line, so good on you for that. Brotherhood Regalia is a little bit expensive to equip to non-legendaries. Yeah, there is also Rogue's Passage, which is the other land that can handle this for you. So big picture, what I would say you need is more unblockability or even more draw discard. I think you could do some things like Mazzolanti would be pretty good. You would never want to flip this, so you're never paying the transform cost. This is $130. You can get 15 of these for the price of your 1 Urabrask. But this is another really good draw discard. You could even play some shit like Dire Sight. I did that in the most roundabout way possible. Holy shit. You could even play some stuff that gives you like Surveil. I would also really recommend just running Surveil lands, or at least the Rakdos Surveil land that you do have access to. Shizo is legendary creature only, so that's not going to work for us. Shut the fuck up about DRC, Kaboni. I'll get you. Don't say that. Oh, thank you. I appreciate you. I love you. Now I got nuggets, motherfuckers. So overall, you are not a fool for this deck, but you did come in here talking some big shit about fast games, and you are going 35 on a highway. You got a little Volkswagen Bug, and you are high as shit, driving 30 miles an hour on I-5. Oh, Sonic Screwdriver maybe? We'll see. Yeah, almost perfect. If we have a 3 mana rock already, then definitely replace that. I would replace Everflowing Chalice with Sonic Screwdriver. I think it's pretty unrealistic that we're going to want to be kicking this a crazy amount, and we'd rather have a mana rock that's going to fix our pips and give us unblockable. Oh, thank you, Nicholas. I appreciate you. So, Bedlam's good. I worry that this is going to be a little too accelerationist. Hold on. No, we're not doing the custom card redeems today, so let me turn that redeem off. It's just still on from when we switched to World of Warcraft the other day. Okay. There we go. That's turned off. Oh, thank you, Willie. It depends on the deck. When building a deck, what's the priority? Removal or answers? I'm assuming by answers you mean like proactive things. That depends if you want to be the problem immediately or if you want to be the responsible adult who then poisons all the naughty children as they sleep. Timid, the WoW stream is happening again Saturday. We just did a little bit of World of Warcraft after the Magic stream yesterday. And then would for sure cut Savage Beating. I would keep these and I would just be more willing to tutor them. Straight up. Just kill people. They deserve it. They know what they did. But overall, you don't have to change much. I think this is like... I think this is... Greedy is not even the right term. This is like... You're this guy. That's what this deck is. Is like, you have potential. You have a lot of cool things you could do. But you're a little bit too concerned with being nice to everybody. And I think that's... You got a good heart. You got a good heart, my friend. You got to be a bitch. You got to be a bitch. You want to end these games quickly? You want to end these games quickly? You cannot be helping children up off the ground. You got to be kicking them when they are down. You got to be putting dust into their faces. I need you to be knocking children off of bikes. I need you to go knock 20 kids off of bikes and then make some swaps. And you'll have a better time playing Commander. What if we yeet the children? 3D Master, I think with how you capitalize that, maybe you've knocked enough kids off bikes for one lifetime. I'm going to pick Squeamish. That's where I'm going to put you for the day. So I'm going to put you at Squeamish. Because I like what you're going for in general. But I think you're stepping back from the edge one time too many. How's it different from your aggressive boar murder? Yu-Gi-Oh! I was doing that for the children. Shut up. Rena wants to know if we can recommend a fun Izzet commander. I personally am going to be building King Shark for MagicCon Chicago. I would really recommend that guy. All right, next up. Otterfire, Zelenor, Nox, Skyfall, Deceased, Skyrat, Turtle Stew. Are any of you here? And James, I know you're here. I believe Otterfire is still here and should be next up in the list. So I'll wait for Otterfire to sound off on YouTube, and then we're going to do another manual ad break to keep the pre-roll demons away, and I will see you all in a moment. Okay, Otterfire is still here. We are waiting on, I think that's Zelenor, Nox, Skyrat, Turtle Stew. Request to go next to you so I can go to bed. Otterfire, are you okay if we move James up in the order so that they can go to sleep? Grant, there's two methods to get your decks reviewed. The two different ways are to be a Patreon member or to purchase a roast commission on Ko-Fi. If you purchase on Ko-Fi, they go on sale the first Sunday of every month. If you're a Patreon member, you have the chance to sign up the first Saturday of every month. But it's not guaranteed that you get a roast if you're a Patreon member. It's just a potential benefit. For Ko-Fi, it is guaranteed, but we have a low stock every month, so you got to move quick. Okay, Zelenor's here. James, we'll do you next. I'm going to bomb the rest of these nuggets. Thoughts on why Savitri Skarzam is the best commander of all time? Well, maybe if I could spell them, I would have a thought on it. Please, Scryfall. Please, Scryfall. Dog, they have to have a subreddit for Scalies. Like, I know you're down bad. I know you're down bad. I am too. But like they have forums for this. They have entire forums for this, and we don't need to pretend that this is a playable commander. We don't need to pretend the 7 mana 6/4 is a playable commander. You can there's just a 4chan tab about this shit. Yeah, Savitri's the girl, but she's fucking that dragon. I need us all to be so for real. Savitri is the woman, not the dragon. You are still a Scaly because I need you to look at the energy between these two. Listen, I know that because I'm autistic, there's a pretty good chance everybody watching this is too. If you've not had a lot of social cue practice, these are the eyes of two people that are about to get nasty. That's just how it goes. Even the brave have cause to tremble at the sight of Savitri Skarzam. Who else has tamed Skarzam's dragon? Yeah. Uh-huh. So, like, if two of your friends, you're hanging out with them, and they're like, damn, it's getting late. You should probably go home. We're going to keep studying, though. What do you think? They're just really ready for the math test? Because that is what's happening in the Savitri art. They're looking at you being like, man, that's crazy. You should get home. Oh, the dragon? The dragon's going home. They left some peanut butter in my fridge. I have to return it to them. No, we do have to do it in private. Please leave. Please leave. MTG Frog, I am very excited for Aether Drift. I am very down for Aether Drift. I think it's going to be a dope time. Okay. Okay, next up. Let me pull up, right, James's list that accidentally got left off the roast responses because it's on the Ko-Fi response sheet, which I have right here. So James, This is a silly deck. I took your previous roast's advice to heart. Then I threw it out onto the highway, causing a 69 car pileup. I want to be clear, this is a spite counter roast. Hit me, burn my house down, kick my dog. I promise you that I will cry. Wonderful. Ah. Five colorless. I'm American. Who's got too many colorless lands now, Maul? 21 out of 25 snips. This is the first reference of the snip scale that has made me kind of want to look up what it is, but I'm still not going to do it. You shit ass. Okay, we have an Aslas. We have a colorless commander. I'm assuming every fucking land can tap for colorless. You idiot. You pitiful dumbass. You have, in your attempt to spite me, built a semi-functional land base. You absolute fucking fool. You are going to die. You are going to die to the million tiny knives that tapping for colored mana causes you, but this will actually fix your mana, because everything taps for 2 or more colors. It is only, I am simply the Voldemort to your Harry Potter. It is only through your hatred of me that you could learn how to use magic correctly for once in your goddamn life. Even art has to win. 3/4 copy an ability. Copy something. If I if I just poop thrice, can I kill you? Target creature. Okay, so we care a lot about Eldrazi. We care about having a lot of Eldrazi. We care about stealing. Rena, yeah, I'll post the link to this. Everybody point and laugh. Everybody point and laugh. Okay, so we are just doing straight up and down Eldrazi stuff. In spite, I went onto EDHREC and I typed in colorless and I copy-pasted all of it. Angrily. Herald of Kozilek, cool. Sol Ring, you're so cool. Not exactly. And then we have this motherfucker in the sideboard just for the goddamn snip joke. There is not a single color in that deck. True. I forgot the important thing about every other Eldrazi deck is all of their goddamn colors. Thought you were gonna make me crash out with post-racial Eldrazi? Do better. Oh wow, draw 2 for 7? So real of you. I proxied 100 cards. I'm touching 100 cards. Motherfucker, did you put cycling under the touching 100 cards section? Alright, group hug. You're gonna draw 1 card. You're gonna draw 1 goddamn card. Skull Clamp might do it. Sire of Stagnation may legitimately do it if you play with a landfall player. And another fucking cycler. Okay, you know what? We're going straight to the playtest. And we're going to brick live on stream. I'm going to brick this deck up live on stream. God damn you. God damn you to hell. It's even worth it to... So we care about colorless creatures dying. So we don't need to get Aslask out as soon as possible. We need to get Aslask here. Well, we'll get him out anyway. Sure, who cares? I'm going to draw cards because you're bad at Magic and you need extra cards. Yeah, fuck it. Eyeless Watcher, right? We can do this. We're going to pay into Flooded Grove to get 2 green to also play Propagator Drone. So we have 2 Scions now. Turn 5. Path of Annihilation. We have 2 more Scions. Oh, I forgot to draw my extra 2 cards from Font of Mythos. Okay, nice cop out. I have no colors in my deck until I have Chromatic Lantern and everything's fine. And then we can, I mean, we could really tap out at like any time to just rip this Kozilek's command. We have enough Eldrazi Scions in front of, motherfucker, you sent in the most normal Eldrazi deck I have seen in my goddamn life. You're giving the goddamn Joker speech to your coworkers at the used car dealership. I made this out of spite. You fucking child. You absolute fucking... Oh no, my lands don't tap for the pips that are on them unless I have the thing that makes my lands tap for whatever pips are on them. Everybody, this is madness. This is how far gone you have to be to think a functional Eldrazi deck. To think a functional Eldrazi deck is peak spite. Peak spite. I sent you something that works. Yeah, the deck's fine. You pass. Is that what you wanted, James? Change nothing. It works correctly. You shot me with a gun. Yes, the gun works. I play a colorless land and I play this is not an Eldrazi spell. I play a Felwar Stone. I play a command tower. I have Eldrazi Monument. I've sacrificed to spawn. I have more spawns now, but my creatures are invincible. I'm going to cycle this guy. I have more spawns. I have all my colors. I activate Azlask and you die. Okay. Go back to work at the fucking Ford factory. Fucking dickhead. I work at a hotel, you jerk. Look at all the tags. Okay, hold on. Even Art has to win. Not losing another cannon minion. Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. Get colorless faster. Perfect. This is literally just functional. Like, it's certainly not high power, but you said silly. Yeah, I would say this is silly. Azalask is going to wind up his massive fucking toy Hulk hand and then kill you. It just works. It's just a gun. It's just a big tentacle gun. It turns out if you buy a motorized fucking tentacle monster and turn it on, it will just do what you bought it for. You have no tech. You have no heat. You have one crab joke. And then your first well put together mana base. I will award you 2 points for making a good mana base where every land's first line is to tap for colorless. I will award you 2 points for that. But you are Toon Spiteful, and it turns out your version of Toon Spiteful is spiting God by making a deck that can play Magic. Be gone. Go to bed. Go to bed right now. Oh, true, except for Command Tower. Is it going off? Yeah. Pull it up. Mango? Mango? Get him. What now? What now, dipshit? Tap for your colors. Tap for your colors, coward. I love you too, James. Thank you for the submission. Get fraud checked, though. Dungeon Masters Consortium, thank you for the 500-bit cheer, my friend. Welcome back to Dog Heaven. Any thoughts on Narset Enlightened Exile as a theft commander? Extremely clunky, but possible. The difficulty is you need to mill other people for this to work. You need them to mill good non-creature spells. And you probably have to Voltron Narset because you're not going to be able to get her big enough just with the prowess trigger. Because you're going to have so many cards that are dedicated to milling other people that you're not going to be able to do like prowess cantrip. You are doing the Lord's work to propagandize the youths into believing that Jeskai Narset is not atrociously broken. Chef, thank you for the drink water redeem. Also, Greedy Day G, thank you for the Twitch follow. Scrybaby333, thank you for the Twitch follow. Heinrich Cat and XX Shadow XD, thank you for the Twitch follows as well. Welcome to the doghouse, my new friends. And then we had a rant from Nightsea. Rant about how... Can I get a rant as to why you do not have the rant redeem as one of those redeems where you type something in as part of claiming the redeem to make it easier on both of us? Well, you see, Nightsea, I love being difficult. I love it. It's definitely a bad part of my personality, but I like to think that as a content creator and as a streamer, by making it just a little bit inconvenient to access any of the shit to do with me, it makes sure that the people who interface with me are true believers. True goons, if you will. If it was easy, breezy, beautiful, put together at all, to do any of the things you wanted to do on this stream, we would have a bunch of fly-by-night. Fly-by-night, how do you do Andes? Coming and going. Would I be more successful? More fulfilled? Would I have a more satisfied audience? Probably. But I wouldn't get to feel like a little shithead at every moment of the day. And that is what I'm about. That is the business that I am on. I am a miscreant. Okay? I am a straight up miscreant. And I am about my business. We need a yes boss emote. Very true. And then Sharagold Old Streams, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the doghouse, my friend. Typical is it player response. Hey Mauld, is Dragon's Approach a viable way to build Spellslinger and Dragon Kindred? I'm helping a friend that wants to build Velomachus, and that was his rough vision. Not really for Velomachus, because you want to, if you're doing Dragon's Approach, you want to cast things, you want to cast a lot of Dragon's Approach. If you're doing Velomachus, you want to get the most valuable 5 mana instant or sorcery that you can. How much money would I have to send you to get access to that Google slide? I will publish it at some point. I will simply publish it at some point. But until that day, we are going to move on to, I believe, Otterfire's deck roast. If you are done with your chili, we get to do a shorter ad break this time because James's deck could be dismissed out of hand as a bastardized creation. So I banish you all, but only for a minute. Hold on, I gotta zoom in to read this shit. Big Hat Token High Lord Bolner. Thank you for the tier 1 Twitch sub, my friend. Welcome to the dog home. I appreciate your generosity very much. What's up, Sarcastic Jack? I mean, Timon, if you don't get ads, that's great. I would prefer, listen, I would prefer for people to not have ads, but if I run no ads, Twitch will run ads on my behalf randomly, and it will interrupt the actual good shit. So I would rather just have like defined breakpoints and then keep the ads out of like the good shit that's going to make it into the highlight reels anyway, so that everybody gets to feel like they participate. Like if every time I hit an ad break, none of you got an ad, but Twitch kept the automatic ads out anyway, I would just do that every time. That would be sick for me. However, if I don't hit the ad button, Twitch gets mad at me and is like, fuck you, we're going to run the ads for you, little idiot, little stinky boy. Get advertised on. We need a yes boss and a 21 goon salute emote. If I message anybody on Fiverr about making a 21 goon salute emote, I think I'm going to get reported to the FBI. Maul deck idea. Pick Golos as the commander, make a minimally functional mana base, and then build the rest of the deck by just hitting random card on Scryfall. I think we could do like, honestly, okay, Gorilla, that's the sound I make when I plagiarize you. And you got to hear it because what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that, but I'm going to build 4 decks and make them play against each other. I'm going to make 4 Golos decks that all do that. And then those 4 Golos decks are just going to play into each other and see what they can get done. Hit an ad break whenever you make a banger joke so we don't get spoiled until the YouTube video drops. That's the tech right there, honestly. Okay. And then Otterfire. Okay, great. Otterfire is still here. We're going to get into Otterfire's deck, which is silly to me, or silly to them. It's baffling to me that there wasn't a whole lot of talk around playing this commander. Discarding cards turns into drawing more cards is its wet dream with all these cards that use discarding as a downside. So here I am as a fan of this commander, and I figure I introduce a nice $50 budget list that still slaps face. I included a long list of considerations should anyone want to play her differently. Fuck you, there are no safety nets for decking out. We're here to draw 30 with 25 left in deck. That is at least the right attitude. Also one of the first people who have checked no on do they want any changes. Also, Kevin King, thank you for the $10 super chat on YouTube. Welcome to Dog Heaven, my friend. Where can we submit decks, Mr. Funnyman? There's 2 places, Kevin. You either need to be a Patreon member or you can pay $25 for a Ko-Fi commission. Those commissions are limited availability. They will be available for purchase this Sunday at noon Pacific time. 18 are going to be for sale. This month they sold out in 4 minutes. So you do need to be very quick. All right, so Riel cycles to victory. With a budget of $50, this list looks to emulate a pre-constructed deck that WotC could make, turning discard from a downside to an upside. Dig through your deck, for answers and to beat everybody to death with a 21-3 old woman. Now, I think your difficulty in getting a deck that's going to match a precon, based on the precons we saw yesterday, does the mana base work? A little bit, so can't be a precon. We have more than 3 pieces of removal, so you are disqualified from being a precon. We have a spell that might actually combine with our commander to win the game, also disqualifies you from being a precon. We have a bunch of terrible cards that we only play because they say cycling. That is 1 point towards being a precon. You have 8 things that do synergize directly with your win condition. That's too much for a precon. We want about 1 or about 1/2. You have 6 mana rocks and no other ramp. That's okay. That's good for precon. We have more than 1 piece of card draw. Also not good for precon. Oh, but do we have the is it precon accidental infinite? That's a good check. That's a good check. I don't think Riel has that many unless I see a displacer kitten, at which point I will throw up. Elikman, Pantalaza and Merfolk were crazy. I'm just making carry-on jokes about how bad the precons we looked at yesterday were. But like Pantalaza and Merfolk were the types of precons that make me extremely sad because they're just so good and boring. Lady Lag, thank you for coming by the stream. I hope you enjoyed the roast. Oh, right. Riel can't even with Displacer Kitten. Well, hold on. It has a $108 value. So the final pre-contest is, do we have 1 card in here that is worth like 20% or more of the deck's value that people are going to buy this pre-con to dismantle it for? $5.99 on Flame of Anor. Currently the leader. Some mana rocks. Absolutely dog shit lands. Not very precon. Not very precon. These cards are just too generically valuable. Could always sort by price. You sound crazy. So we have 1 land. I will be a little bit generous and assume that you would use a free mulligan. We have 2 lands in Young Pyromancer. Fuck it, let it rock. So we do that. We do that. We do Young Pyromancer. We do that. We do Riel. We've lost 2 life at this point. We do this. We put up Thrill of Possibility. We discard. Do I want Careful Study? I do want Careful Study. All of these cards actually do the same thing, which makes me pretty happy. I will actually dump Careful Study. So we get to draw 1 because we discarded and then draw 2. Oh, shit. Jump scare. All right. Chris, we are going through submitted decks. The person who submitted this just said it was like precon-esque. And then we can play Harmonic Prodigy, which will definitely not be problematic at all. And we have 1 elemental. So now we play this tapped. Play this guy. And we, turn 5, loaded gun on the table. I'm going to say Change of Fortune. Change of Fortune. I'm just going to let this shit rock. This will trigger twice. We will dump our hand, dealing 5 to everybody with Glinthorn Buccaneer. Riel's ability will trigger twice, so we will draw 5. We will draw 5. Then we will resolve Change of Fortune. to draw 5 more cards. I'll play Reliquary Tower because I'm not a fucking madman. And then Key to the City. In case anybody was like still thinking we did not need to kill this motherfucker immediately. Draw 2. Oh, and we have fucking Treasure Cruise. Yeah, you're an animal. Oh my god, dude. Yeah, people die. People have to die at this point. I mean, hey, I wish we got to live in a world where Izzet got to have precons like this. This could probably keep up with the Pantalaza or the Merfolk precon, because this is 100% like, I'm going to do some stuff that is incredibly interactable, but if you don't interact with me and you just let me dirtle in your face, you're gonna die. Real as hell. It does look like you need to mulligan at least a bit, but you have enough good targets for what you're gonna mulligan to that it's not the end of the world. So Bomat Courier, we're gonna exile that. Exile that. Riel. And now, does anybody shoot us? I think we do Goblin Electromancer, and then we wait until an end step to see if anybody... Oh wait, this is a sorcery. So we do this right now. Draw 2. Honestly, fuck the Crater. Fuck Frantic Search because Forbid is so good. Draw 2, draw 2. Chill. Discard this land. Very normal. And then we have a soft counterspell. So now we have this. We can Improbable Alliance. I'm just going to hold up a counterspell and assume that I have to use it. Assuming that I have to use the counterspell, I'm going to discard 2, which will trigger Riel, which will trigger Riel again. I'll draw 2, draw 2. So now I get to keep this in my hand, and I get to make a 1/1 blue fairy. I'll ramp a little bit. I'll loot faithlessly. I will Talarian Winds. I will discard 9. I will draw 27 cards for discarding 9 cards. The world explodes. This is perfection. This is perfection. The only thing I am going to even contest about this is this shit is not silly. As a fellow Izzet player, when you build an Izzet deck that works, we are not funny. We are not funny. We are not fun to be around. We are the fucking enemy. I mean, Geckomancer, I think like, so I hate decks like this. Diva stuff. My turn lasts forever and your turn is my turn. These turns took like straight up 20 seconds. I think if you believe that these types of Izzet decks take really long turns, you're playing with stupid Izzet players. Which is like, hey, that's a thing that happens. But if I'm playing this deck and I'm just playing reasonably, like we can put a goddamn timer on it and 1, 2, like the longest part of this turn right now is picking what I'm going to discard, and there, turns over. Next turn. No maximum hand size. Next turn. This is 5 mana. Cycle, draw 2. Like, these turns do not take a very long time. They only take a very long time if the table is like jerking off about how much they hate card draw the whole time this player is trying to take their turn. Or if everybody is trying to like re-threat assess how the deck is doing at every moment. I am playing in a vacuum, but so few of these decisions are legitimately impacted by, which is again why I say you're playing with bad Izzet players. A very critical part of playing Izzet is learning about what you can ignore. I don't think any of the game actions we've taken so far are impacted at all by our opponent's board state. Yeah, the lands player takes longer than this to fetch forests and reshuffle their library in between every fetch of forest. Like, if you're cracking fetch lands, you are taking longer turns than this deck is. There are Izzet decks that can take long turns if they're doing like tempo control, but this deck just has game actions to take, and it can take them extremely concisely. Like, our game, this is not a very interaction heavy Izzet deck. This is mostly, I have a bunch of engines that I want to play. It's a little bit irresponsible. Like, since we're playing in a vacuum, like maybe we could say it's halfway between tuned and greedy. It's really good at doing its own game plan. It's not actually that good at stopping a game plan. It's like we have one thing. We have one thing that is targeted removal for a creature. I get that, because green makes me reflexively hate. So I very well understand the like instinctive reaction of, I see Izzet player drawing a ton of cards, fuck that person, they're wasting my time. But this deck for sure doesn't waste your time, and if someone manages to waste your time while playing this deck, they probably just need to be medicated. They are probably just like suffering through unmedicated ADHD if they can't play this deck quickly. The archetype in general, yeah, it can definitely, but I'd honestly, at this point in Magic the Gathering's history, every archetype can masturbate. Every archetype, or every color, has the archetype play with your own nutsack under its umbrella. Oh, the Planeswalker is in here because it's because it's a precon. So this is just the other, oh my god, so it really is perfectly precon coded. This is the Izzet precon that should have been. If this deck isn't silly, where does it go on the scale? I think this deck 100% goes into spooky on the silly to spooky to scary scale, because it is 100, it is 9 or 10 times out of 10. If you don't know what Riel does, then you probably let it stick around, and then you probably get exploded. If you know what Riel does, and you remove her very quickly, the deck is like very okay, which is kind of the heart of spooky. You don't have a lot of time to remove Riel. Like, if you blow your removal somewhere else, you probably don't have time to dig through your deck over multiple turns to try to find other removal. But if you have removal and you just hold it for a turn and you blow it a little bit late, the game's not going to be over because you waited one more turn. That's what I would call like a scary deck. I would say like a scary deck is if you have removal and you just wait too long, wait one turn too long to use it, you're still going to lose anyway. A spooky deck is like, if you have removal and you use it on the wrong piece, you're still going to lose anyway. I mean, silly is independent of budget. I will trot this example out as many times as we need to, but if you want an example of how the silly to spooky to scary scale is totally agnostic of how much money you spent, just look at the average Zada deck. Or look at the average Feather deck. Or if you think this is just like, if you think this is a red thing, look at the average Omnath Locus of Mana deck. You can build extremely, extremely cheap decks that easily qualify as spooky. Budget is barely even correlated to power most of the time. You can even look at, god damn it, one of these days I'm going to stop plugging Salubrious Snail, but it's not going to be today. You can even look at whatever like $25 yeah, this Malcolm deck. It costs as much as your deck does, and it's winning on turn 5. Or this Xyrus deck that's $20 and doesn't matter because Xyrus is terrible. If you're ever trying to hold back the power level of your commander deck, budget is the last place you should start. There may be times where you're like, oh, this really expensive card is going to disqualify my deck from being silly or spooky, but you can never be like, because the budget is here, I'm confident that the power is there. Those two things do not even correlate often enough for you to be confident in that. Yeah, to power down your deck, run way too many gates and introduce a secondary play pattern that has nothing to do with the rest of the deck. This is beautiful. This is the precon I wish they would print. Because there's a ton of stuff that you could meaningfully upgrade for like staple pieces, and that is where you would start to really, really inflate the budget. But this is a pretty effective deck that is fragile in a number of places, namely the old lady's spine, and that will let other people interact with it, but you do have to have timely interaction. I think we should lock new Magic players in a room and force them to play against this deck. I like it a lot. Good job. How spooky is Juladoc to you? I mean, I think that's... Juladoc is in the archetype of commander that is like very, very up and down spooky. You have to respond to it. You have to interrupt this player's ability to ramp, because if you don't, they're just going to lay down so many threats that the only answer becomes Cyclonic Rift or something. By himself, not scary. But if you let them play this and then you let them tap 8 mana after that, it's gonna get fucking ridiculous. It's gonna get irresponsible and it's gonna smell bad. But the stuff that comes out is so powerful that I struggle to call it silly, even though you can Wile E. Coyote this motherfucker. You have to deal with him like you are the Roadrunner, and this player is Wile E. Coyote, but it still doesn't really reach silly, because if they do ever get to do the thing, you have to have like board wide removal. But it's very fragile, because after you do the board wide removal, they're totally cooked. This Planeswalker might actually be too good for the deck. I didn't even read it the first time because I hate Planeswalkers so much. But floating mana to cast stuff, discarding cards, and then free casting your instants and sorceries again is like... I think you need a Planeswalker that helps less if you want to be a precon. Containment, yeah, it should be random Chandra. That's right. It should be a random Chandra that doesn't actually do anything to move the deck's game plan forward. It should be Chandra, Acolyte of Flame. There. You can -2 it. You can -2 it to get 1 instant or sorcery back. Maul, are you aware that Snail's new video is probably coming out later tonight? No, I don't really watch other content, and like for all the times I've brought up Snail, I don't watch any of his videos. I've heard like 8 individual sentences from watching parts of his videos, but I don't really watch other people's content at all. Oh, Duretti Scrap Savant. Yeah, perfect. This is the Planeswalker Watsy's putting in. How much is it worth? It has to be worth less than $1. Yeah, there we go. We're putting in the 0.59 printing. They're like, yeah, draw a discard. Yeah, it'll be great. All right, so we've still got Zelenor, Nox Skyfall, Skyrat, and Turtle Stew to go. Zelenor, I believe you're still here. And then we still need Nox, Skyrat, and Turtle to sound off. Can goad be considered a form of removal? No, that is very much a if your grandmother had wheels, she'd be a bike situation. Goad is a form of control. It is a form of control because you are removing some degree of agency from the player, but it is not very powerful control, and it is definitely not removal. Turtle is here. Perfect. Oh, yeah, okay. We see Turtle. I see Zelenor. So right now we're going to go from Zelenor to Turtle is going to be the plan. So we're going to do... I think we can sneak at least Zelenor in without doing an ad break. All right, so Zelenor's deck is spooky. This deck would love to go infinite with Vihan plus Pitiless Plunderer plus Aggravated Assault. Hold on, I read that wrong. This deck would love to go infinite with Vihan plus... Spooky deck. This deck would love to go infinite with Vihan plus Pitiless Plunderer plus Aggravated Assault. You motherfucker! Nadu's ashamed of you. I want you to look him in the eyes and explain why you're running 3-card infinites in your spooky decks. I want you to look this motherfucker square in the face and tell Nadu why you deserve a 3-card infinite. Okay, it usually just wins by going wide and punching with tokens or winning via aristocrat strat. So it sounds like Sight Unseen. Sight Unseen, I think the problem with this deck is likely that we have a bad deck propped up by a combo, which can happen a lot, where it's like a combo where the individual pieces make sense in the deck. Oh, it's not an infinite. Okay. What's up, Darebrained? Gold Waker's Gambit. So our treasures are 3/3s that get haste and vigilance. So we can swing, we can beat people to death with money. Revel in Riches. This, yeah, good alt win con, seems pretty easy to get to. We have Token Doubler to make more treasures. Big Score. Cavern Horde Dragon. Immediately we are into Wattpad fanfic territory of what cards are going to be good, unless you have another Mardu Treasures player at the table. Blood Money's good. I like Descent into Avernus. Generous Plunder is good. Hell to Pay is fine. Jan Jansen is basically your backup commander. I think Mahadi is kind of verging on Wattpad again. Olivia makes sense. Woo, so a lot of these cards make sense individually, and I'm immediately concerned that we have a mana brick situation. Okay, it's not that bad. It's we're getting a little cheese wheelie, but we're not fully into the mana brick. Kaya the Inexorable, absolutely ridiculous. Cut this immediately. Not just because it's a planeswalker, but because it's a planeswalker and because I hate them. We have a lot of removal. I feel like you can't be so hard up for removal that we have to be discarding planes. Oh, true. Okay. Yeah, you can keep Mahadi for that interaction. Treasure Enhancer. Yeah, Nadir's Nightblade makes sense. Mirkwood Bats makes sense. Mayhem Devil makes sense. So we have a lot of like treasure aristocrat stuff. So we have treasure aristocrats and we have things to make treasures. Then we have a few combat buffs. And then you have a goddamn Smothering Tithe because it's a treasure deck, and therefore you're going to tell me it's on theme, and therefore I'm going to tell you to go fuck yourself, and the world's going to go around and around and around until you lose another game with this deck. Not a big fan of the Wanderer, especially if it is meant to be in here as removal, because we have no way to uptick it. Like if you want to have a planeswalker in here, at least Kaya can uptick herself. Even though the +1 I don't think has anything to do with what you're doing. Darebrain, they have monologue tax. I do also worry our curve is like incredibly clogged around our commander. We have so much shit that we want to do the same turn that we conceivably want to be playing Vihan, which we might get away with because Vihan we don't necessarily want to ramp into. We want to set up well for him and then play him into a field full of treasures. So we do Path. We don't control plains or swamp. We don't control 2 or more other lands. So we're going to get rat fucked on our mana. So we can do Talisman Plunderer. We make a treasure from Generous Plunderer. We control plains or swamp. This guy has Menace. I'll be very generous to you and say that you can probably get a menacing swing through with Generous Plunderer. And then you get to make an extra treasure because of Olivia's condition. Turn 5. We can Vihan. And then this is 3 mana to activate the ability. Oh, we would have gotten a treasure off of Generous Plunderer. So after they animate, we spend 3 more mana to get 3 +1/+1 counters onto all this shit. So we have a lot of big things. We have 6/6, 6/6, 5/5, 6/6, and then these have vigilance. And if these land, we stand to gain 4 treasures. We don't really want to cast Spiteful Banditry. We have Rev. We have Boros Charm. We have Inspiring Statuary, which Inspiring Statuary is theoretically good, but we have nothing worth improvising because we're already richer than God. We could Reign of Riches, make 2 more, and we could Treasure with Rev in the vain hope that we just high roll and hit whatever we need in this situation. We get the Wop Sword, which isn't bad. And then we just like smack again, hope for the best. I mean, we can improvise with the treasures, but I don't think it changes the overall play pattern of this deck, which is the deck has a lot of individually good cards for the deck. It has basically no way to get new cards. It has a lot of like bad ways to remove things, but I think a lot of its removal is childish. Like I think Demolition Field is probably not often relevant to you. The Wanderer is probably not often relevant to you. Spiteful Banditry, sure, for a token player. Single Combat is probably like really expensive. I'll say this is clever actually, because you can sacrifice everything but your treasures. Darebrand, it's less of like we need to cut and more of like putting it in the removal section is a lot of like stat padding. Like it's good removal to have when you need it, but having the removal be at 12 is technically correct, but it does not feel like a deck that is very good at reacting to things. And then I think the bigger problem above that is we have 3 fucking pieces of card draw. When we have access to Rakdos, very, very possible for Rakdos to touch some goddamn cards. Orzhov, very possible for them to touch some goddamn cards. So when we talk about the deck's play pattern having a tough balance of either being really scary or it gets hated out, what you have here is you have like 60 cards that all make sense for the deck, and you are only allowed to have 30. You're only allowed to have between 30 and 40 cards that are actually contributing to your gimmick, and the rest need to be lands, they need to draw you cards, and they need to remove other people's problematic bullshit. And at the points when those Venn diagram circles can overlap, like Spiteful Banditry, like Single Combat, these overlap, Blood Money, Blasphemous Edict, these all overlap really, really well with the other things your deck is trying to do. But when you play this deck, you are just like, hey, top 10, that's good with me. I got it. And you have a lot of different hurdles you need to jump through. There are some decks that literally do not care what order they draw their deck in, because they're just playing like Tatyova Landfall, and their deck is just ramp and lands and big creatures. So fuck off. So as long as they draw ramp and lands, who cares? Who cares what order they draw their synergy pieces in? Your deck cares a lot. Your deck cares a fucking shitload about, I need to draw treasure generators first, and then I need to play Vihan, and then I need to draw something that is going to make my combat more impactful, or I need to draw something that is like an outlet for having all these treasures. And when you have such a specific path that you need to walk, card draw and card selection becomes way more important to you. So I think what would be useful to you is you need to start picking which of these payoffs and which of these generators are your favorites, and then you need to begin trimming and replacing them with things that will draw you cards. Now, there are things like Benny Brax that will continue to overlap with your overall game synergy, but for the most part, there's more things you need, like Cathartic Reunion. With a curve like yours, you can get Staple Piece, Wild Wasteland. You could even, one of your engines could even be Prosper. You could even have Prosper and go for like a exile card advantage thing. I think they do have Big Score and Unexpected Windfall. Yeah, they have Big Score. They just tagged it Oh, you don't have Windfall, though. I would also put in Unexpected Windfall. And I would generally try to do 1-to-1 swaps on the mana value because your curve is just barely hanging on to playable. And right now its biggest problem is that after it plays its first 7 cards, you're done. You're just letting that rock. And so if anybody else at your table has the removal to handle whatever you try to do in the first 7, you just get cooked. And then if they don't, you do just win the game. You have a ton of win more stuff here. You have a ton of stuff that says, if I'm already winning, make me win really fucking hard. Reign of Riches, I think, is one of those cards. Spring Loaded, yeah, there will be a VOD. I think Inspiring Statuary even is probably one of those cards in practice, even though on paper it feels really good. Oh, one of these days I'll type letters in the right order. Do not put this shit in. You have better things to be doing with your treasures than tapping 2 of them for 1 damage. Gisela Blade of Gold Knight is also like, this is too expensive to be worth sacrificing your treasures for. I think you would rather just have like an outlaw banner. It's a good card. It's just probably not a card for this deck. Like, you have a lot of things where their only contribution to the deck is like, this is pretty sick, but pretty sick in a really broad sense. And so I would take the things that are sick in a broad sense and are not like inextricably linked with what your deck is trying to do, and cut them in favor of things that are either going to let you wheel or even like even the base level bullshit like Read the Bones. You could loot Faithlessly. It is really important for you that you fix your hand to play the deck in the right order. Yes, Rose, we are doing deck roasts, and this deck is like, I mean, this is Elon Musk and this is his dream business. Like, you just have, this deck moves through the game believing that it's always going to have infinite money. It's always going to have the exact resource that it needs on top of the deck. Nobody's ever going to do anything particularly mean to it. You have a ton of these incredibly narrow answers that you're always assuming you're going to have the conditions set up to pay for. Like, you have built this deck like an anime character that has some type of restriction on their power, but rather than that restriction being something you can overcome, like a loved one needs to be in danger, your list of conditions to activate your power is a fucking Costco shopping list. It's just way too much. I think Demand Answers is also very good. Thank you, Helios. Because this way you can sack a treasure if you need to. Stacks, the deck does not have plot armor, but the deck really wants some plot armor. So if I'm going to make some broad shouts about what things I think don't deserve to go into the final iteration, I'm going to say Cavernhorn Dragon, Monologue Tax, Reign of Riches, Reaver Cleaver, Aggravated Assault, Kaya the Inexorable, Gisela Blade of Gold Knight, Abolish, The Wanderer, Rousing fucking Refrain, technically Ramp. Just, you have money, make more Bitcoin. uh, Marionette Master, and Inspiring Statuary. Those are all the cards that I'd be like, these are technically good. These are technically good in the deck. I do not believe they are good enough to justify having no ability to draw cards if anything bad ever happens to you. That is true. Marionette Master, I would argue then that Mirkwood Bats comes out, because Marionette Master is a pretty good top end aristocrat piece. So I will accept the argument for that, but I think then you cut Mirkwood. Iceman, thank you for the $5 super chat, my friend. Mauled, related question. What do you feel about a Vihan Revel in Riches WinCon deck, but with a Dwarves sub-theme? I built one, kind of slaps. It depends, Iceman. If by Dwarf sub-theme, do you mean I spend the entire game mulliganing for Magda, and as soon as I get Magda, I put a hole in your chest? Because, yeah, I believe you. Hell yeah, I believe you then. Other than that, I think the Dwarf sub-theme is just like, I built a treasure generation deck that happens to have some dwarves in it. I don't think it's actually a sub-theme of the deck. Oh, Phoenix, could you repost it for me? I'm very sorry that I missed that. And then Caboni, you asked one as well. Let me scroll back up and find that. Nilantiv, thank you for the Prime sub for the 3rd month in a row. Welcome back to the dog home, my friend. I appreciate those Bezos bucks. Okay, so Caboni's personal question. Why do I dislike Planeswalkers so much? I don't dislike them as much in Commander, although the feeling is still very much there. The heart of my dislike for Planeswalkers comes from playing against them in 60 card, where Planeswalkers are very much like, if I resolve this and you do not have an overwhelming board state advantage, I'm going to win the game. It might not be this turn. It might not even be until 5 turns from now. But if I get to stick a good Planeswalker and you cannot kill it instantly, the game is inevitably going to be a value grind that I win. It's a very, very boring play pattern to me. And it will shift and stifle the tempo of any game much more aggressively than any card type I've ever seen. Not even just too much Teferi and Wandering Emperor. There was also like a couple Rakdos Planeswalkers I've played against that were the same thing. I think Teferi is the most archetypal, holy fuck, this guy is lame. But in Commander, if you play one Planeswalker, I will let you slide. I'm going to beat it to death immediately. I'm not going to let you get value +1 triggers off of it. But if you play one, I'm not going to be like, oh my god, fucking player removal this guy. Oh, get them, get them, get them. If you're playing a Super Friends deck, yeah, I'm reducing your life total to 0 yesterday. I'm not sorry about it. Super Friends decks are their own beast because they often struggle to close out games concisely. Planeswalker decks have a really hard time winning. Planeswalker decks usually just kind of like try to win the game via fucking interest on passive investing. Like, we're over here talking about dinosaurs and wizards and spells, and they're like, yeah, well, I invested $300 in Dole 20 years ago, and now with the 0.25% dividend I get every other quarter, it's worth more than your entire life, sonny boy. That's how I feel every time a Super Friends deck is talking through its win condition. It makes me so mad. And then we have also Gangrene. Thank you for the follow and the Prime sub. Welcome to the dog home, my friend. I appreciate that generosity very much. Then we had another personal question that Phoenix reposted. I saw it was a favorite card question, but I do not remember exactly from where. Detrove, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the doghouse. What's your favorite card printing specific from INR? What is INR? Oh, Innistrad Remastered. Well, let's look. Detrove, thank you from the Prime sub. Welcome to the dog home, my friend. I appreciate that generosity. Welcome. And thank you for the Bezos bucks. I like this Emrakul. So there's a possibility for this one. It's definitely not Kathor's Crusade. See if that guy has a sick art. Oh, hold on. Blue cards. Blue mentioned. Beautiful. I love blue. That guy looks freaky. I'm already watching too much Hunter x Hunter. I don't need more Chimera ants in my life. I do love deluging my memories. Skeleton. I mean, most of these just look exactly how they did before, and so I'm not incredibly won over by any of them. Chandra looks dope, but Chandra always looks dope, and I've never been particularly enamored with her. Faglo, thank you for the Prime sub, my friend. Welcome to the dog home. I appreciate those Bezos bucks so much, my friend. This was one of my favorite cards when I started playing Standard. Did they make Zealous Conscripts hotter? Ooh, a little bit. Ooh. Ooh, kind of. Okay, that's a good option. Yo, hold on. Hold on. What'd it do, though? What'd it do, though? This actually looks a little imposing. Instead of the crab rave bullshit we had on the previous Hullbreaker Horror, this one actually looks like a monster. It might be this guy. This art is cooking. I'm not actually doing a smasher pass on it, but the art is cooking. Do they have anything for No, Odric cannot keep up at all. Anything for Emrakul. That goes pretty goddamn hard. I don't even fuck with movie posters like this. I think right now this is a close second to Hullbreaker Horror. It's definitely not a green card. Did I say like an anime? Oh no, that's just... Did they give Gitrog or maybe like Liesa any heat? That would be cool. Okay, Cookery. This, ironically, this art being way more scary and this art looking way more goofy seems way more in line with those two characters. A fun amount of stacks. Hit me with that rant redeem, my friend. He looks goofy as fuck, and I love it. I love that he looks absolutely goofy. We do need more Liesa love. What did we get any good shit from? No, cowards. Cowards. They did nothing. Okay, then we just have lands. Oh, borderless. Okay. Oh, we did get some heat for Odric. Unfortunately, he's still just an old white man. That art is hard. I'm still never playing the card. Okay, she's serving. Why did they cook so fucking hard on the green cards? This is bullshit, man. This is prejudice, I swear. All these green arts look sick as fuck. Like, a braid does too. Except for this guy. This guy looks like a fucking idiot. Fuck that guy. Oh, that is Henry Cavill. That's just Henry Cavill as The Witcher. They're gonna get fucking sued for this card. I still don't want to play Sorin, but like, let me talk to their legal team. For favorite, I'm honestly between these two. I'm between the ridiculous frog and the scary kraken. I do like this though. I think this is honorable mention, and then these two are fighting for first place. I think probably this. Because I think this is like new standard. Yeah, I agree with that one guy from 93. This is like a new standard for good sea monster art. Like if we got, can you imagine if we got a Gyruda that was that good? Because we have the Cyberclaw Terror one, but if we got a like actual sea monster Gyruda that was as fucking sick as that Hullbreaker Horror, oh, the Hegelian Shrimp, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the doghouse, my friend. All right, and then now as we move on to Turtle Stew's deck, we're about to hit pre-roll time again. So I'm going to hit another quick ad break. I'm going to use the bathroom, and then we will have no mid-roll ads for hopefully the rest of this stream. Phoenix Blaze, thank you for the 2 months in a row. I appreciate those Jeffrey dollars. Welcome back to the dog home, my friend. Okay, gang. It's happening. We're locked in. All right, we're back as hell. $1 for the chair, Legion. Come on. Come on. If you could delete one food from existence, what would it be? Oh. I'm trying to think of what food my ops enjoy. Because there's not a lot of foods that I won't eat. There's a lot of foods that I could just ignore. But this has to be like, I'm taking this away from the world because I think it will be a net positive for the world. I think this changes. If we are doing like you retroactively make it so this never existed, or you snap your fingers and this thing no longer exists. Because if we're, oh God. But I think, and you guys are going to try to get me on a fucking technicality, but I'm going to be so right that it doesn't matter. High fructose corn syrup. That is a food item. If I could delete one thing from the world, I would delete high fructose corn syrup. If we could just like, now whether that is they never invented in the first place, or if I just like snap my fingers and the world's supply goes up in flames, either's fine with me. As long as we get rid of that bullshit, I'm happy. And then, what is my favorite food? Ooh. I mean, you can eat high fructose corn syrup. Like, just because, like, mushroom is both a food and an ingredient. Teratrox. So I think it depends. I think it depends on, like, how semantic we're being with what counts as a food. Because there's plenty of things that you can say, oh, well, this is an ingredient in other food, but is still a food stuff on its own. And I personally think that high fructose corn syrup can qualify as that. It is a like, it is both an end product that you can make. Just because something's edible doesn't make it food. I mean, is syrup food? It's not particularly nutritious for you. You might not make, just because you might not make an entire meal out of that thing alone doesn't make it not food. Is really my point. We eat that shit all the time. It's food. Just because it's typically an ingredient. Like, I could say corn. There's nobody would be pushing, well, people would be pushing back because corn is fucking awesome. But if I said corn and we got rid of all the corn in the world, we would also be getting rid of all the things corn is an ingredient in, but corn is for sure a fucking food. Like, that's the difference. I'd argue syrup isn't food in the same way that tobacco juice isn't food. I mean, you can just be wrong. Like, I think at that point we're just, okay, I'm going to say wrong things. What counts as food? Any substance that provides energy and nutritional support to an organism. Damn. Damn, that shit is crazy. That shit is crazy. What's up with high fructose corn syrup? Isn't it just sugar? MLP, it is sugar. High fructose corn syrup, I'm not going to get into all the bro science that attempts to connect it to like hormone levels and all of that. But it's a thing that is often used in place of sugar to the degree that a lot of the sugar content of our foods has been really, really highly inflated. And if you use sugar instead, it would be a bit more noticeable. At that point, tap water is food. How many calories are in your tap water, Teratrox? Do you have like chunks of beef floating in your tap water that's providing you these 52 calories? When you turn on the water in your sink, is fucking broccoli coming out? In Michigan, the tap water is 52 calories. All right. So Michiganders get to deny high fructose corn syrup being a food. Doesn't have calories, but does have nutrient value. I mean, then let's say for a food, would you starve to death if this is all I gave you? If no, then it's food. That's the line I'm going to draw, and that makes intuitive sense to me. Therefore, I'm correct. And therefore, we're going to move on to the next deck roast. Fucking die, Darebrain. Like, would you die from not having enough calories? Okay, the next person who's pedantic is getting banned. The next person who's pedantic about the difference between dying from not having calories and the malnutrition from not having appropriate micronutrients is getting fucking banned. I'll unban you at the end of stream, but I will not have any more of the semantics police. Thank you for getting on that grenade, MLP. I appreciate your sacrifice. I knew it was going to be them. They're a soldier. Listen, MLP's a day one. They're a ride or die. They're always here. They're always here to say the pedantic thing. And then Turtle Stew, are you still here, my friend, so that we can do your deck roast? Beautiful. Helios, I'm doing good, my friend. Let's get in to Turtle Stew's deck. The Clue Crew. Ninjutsu is just flicker for hipsters. I'm supposed to attack you is the point of doing this. What the fuck? I'm supposed to get you when we do these streams. You fucking maniac. Okay. You're not wrong, but you shouldn't be allowed to say that. We have a primer. This was a Tivit Flicker control deck with some ninjas in there for good taste. I removed Flicker and Flicker payoffs for more ninjas to make it more interesting. Play Werner on turn 2, rinse and repeat. Gain clues from Werner, while he pretends that he has no idea where all the ninjas are coming from. Lots of neat little interactions and synergies that make me happy. I don't want this to feel like a ninja deck mushed together with a clue deck. Aggressive mulligans for the correct mana to cast Werner, plus a good mix of cards is key. Clues can draw out of a lot of sketchy hands, and Hargild helps with that. I'd love to have space for more interactions, especially counter spells, but I'm already struggling to have a critical mass of key cards. So Werner as the head of a ninja dojo. 40 land gang. Somebody watches Salubrious Snail. Hargild seems like an interesting choice. I guess it's just to get blue for ninjas. So sure. Take out the guard. So is this our removal? I do think for your own edits, it's going to be helpful if you separate out board-wide answers versus one-off answers. So we can bounce something. Ooh, make someone discard. I think this is just in here for improvise. Each opponent discards a card. I think, okay, I can see where the brain worms are starting to get you, because this is at least 2 cards that are just in here because they say artifact synergy on them in big letters drawn in crayon. Okay, reverse polarity. Make my shit unblockable. Throat slitter. Yeah, blow something up. The usual suspects. So this is all of our ninjas. Yeah, so we need blue to make this work correctly. But you already have card draw in your command zone. Good. Good, turtle. Good goon. That's a good little goon. I do worry that you may have Ship of Theseus this. So we're making spirits, which we can ninjutsu, which is good. Scrolling past Martha Jones, I immediately had the thought, well, why is this not just Martha Jones with some doctor that gives us access to black? Because sacrificing a clue... Oh, I guess this is just ETB investigate. So maybe there's not a doctor with access to the color black. Yes, I'm saying that in a very specific way that will work well with Martha. There's no doctor that gives access to black. Damn. Damn. BBC is crazy for that one. Turn in your clues at the company store. What does this transform into? We reanimate one thing. I think this is cute. I don't think it is particularly effective. I don't think reanimating one thing for the cost of 6 colorless mana is tremendously worth it. Although if we have a flavor appeal of this is Wernog's laboratory, I'll kind of let you rock on that. Things that go ramp. Okay. Turn clues into mana. Make a treasure. Marionette Master. Clues have exalted is okay. Yeah, don't like refurbished familiar. I like Rise and Shine. I like Tangletrove. I will accept Thought Monitor. I will accept... I will potentially accept Thousand Moon Smithy after I see how the deck actually plays. Why does she trigger on each ninja? Yeah, I imagine the games where you get out Yuriko are going to be wildly different from the games where you don't get out Yuriko. Initial assessment is that this is a deck of a bunch of people that were friends in high school and have slowly grown apart since they got into college, and they still have a group chat that people send one meme into every other week, and it's getting really sad, but nobody wants to disband the group chat. We will see if that plays out. So we get Flooded Strand. Do we have a Triome? No, because you hate me. Do we have... Yeah, sure. We'll take Hollowed Fountain. Who cares? And then... So Werner. So for those of you who haven't resolved Werner, we get to investigate between 1 and 4 times. Oh, no. Yeah, 1 and 4 times. I'll say it's 4 because I'm a nice guy. Turn 3, we can Seachrome Coast. We can swing Werner, who is a 1/2. So I'm going to pretend that I actually have to play Magic good to do this. I'll play Wingcrafter, I'll give Werner flying, I'll swing him with flying, and then I will ninjutsu him in. And then we get to reinvestigate. I'll again be very kind and say you have Everyone is investigating. Turn 4. Add blue if you played a land this turn. Add black instead. What? Huh? Why are you jigsawing yourself? I mean, I guess white-black is the thing that matters the most, but what? Replay Warnog. Or do we even need to replay Warnog? No, I think we would just... We swing Wingcrafter. And then we... No, we swing Mistblade Shinobi. And then these two are still paired. They both hit. We draw 2, blue-black. Now we replay Warnog. Probably nobody's investigating for us at this point. We have Giver of Runes. We have all this bullshit. I think we're probably going for like Orochi Soul Reaper at this point. We swing these two. They're flying so they don't get blocked. We ninjutsu this in. And then we deal combat damage, make a treasure when we exile the top card of their library. What power level do we want to be at? Spooky. We do have things we can do with the clues. I just think that we don't really have enough. I think we're probably too in on the ninjas and not enough in on the clues. Like, I think Warnog has contracted a few very, very good ninjas, but I don't think all of our ninjas are made equal. In particular, I think Ink Eyes is like really cool ninja that you have no way to set up for. Skull Snatcher, really, really cool ninja that we don't particularly care about using in 99% of situations. Whirler Rogue, useful. We want things to be unblockable. Nashi, potentially useful because we love stealing things. If all of our cards are bad, maybe some of yours are good and we can take those. Sakashima's Student. I mean, it's a copy. Copies are rarely bad. So I'll say you can keep that. Thousand Face Shadow. This is a standard card. This requires you to have your ninja game plan already going, and it needs you to have something else that is attacking and is good and worth copying. Whereas the other, what was the other one? Sakashima's Student. At least this one, whether we ninjutsu it in or not, we can copy somebody else's good creature. So I think we've gone... So when we come up with gimmicks, right? When we come up with gimmicks, we want them to be flavorful. However, gimmicks are more than just adjectives. Your deck gimmick is not identity politics. It's not a cohesive gimmick if you just say all of these things are going to be ninjas. And I think right now we very much have like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles vibe where we have a ton of ninjas to try to trigger Warnog really, really aggressively. That could be just as easily achieved with Flicker, and we've ended up taking some bad ninjas in order to support that game plan. We've also ended up taking things like Herald of Anguish, which is just like, this guy is just here because he says improvise. End step, discard 1, not very powerful. 2, now turn our clues into targeted removal, potentially powerful. I would much rather just be proactive and beat people to death. I think Marionette Master is a semi-reasonable. A lot of your other things are decent. Aethersworn Sphinx, sure, that's funny. Do not have Echo Storm in here. The only artifact you can copy is a clue. You don't need to. You have enough clues. No. Different deck. Go put this in Urza. Be a good little goon. Run along. Put this in Urza. I think Teysa is pretty clever here. I think Thousand Moon Smithy is pretty slow. I don't think that's the worst thing ever, but I do think it's really on the slow end. I think one thing you're definitely missing is Persuasive Interrogators. What if the clue was this anthrax I put inside you? And another thing that's going to be really helpful in editing this deck is knowing how much does your table already hate you. Because knowing how many people are going to bite and take the Wernog Investigate is really important to know, well, how many payoffs do you need? How much setup do you need? Like, Wernog is one of those rare commanders where you can make the commander better just by gaslighting. Like, the commander mechanically improves if you are better at lying. I tend to politic without wanting to politic. Okay, all right, August Leo energy, perfect. So then, yeah, I think you want to cut the worst ninjas, which I'm gonna say includes. I don't think you need both of these. Oh, ETB bounce. Actually, I'll let you rock with Mistblade Shinobi. I think tempo is better than I give it credit for. But I think like Refurbished Familiar, Herald of Anguish. That's just a land, which is why it gets to stay. Ink Eyes. Honestly, even Moon Circuit Hacker, like good ninja can draw you some cards. Your command zone is shitting out clues, so I don't think you're as hard up for it. Nezumi Prowler, holy fuck, is this a draft card? For every one time you get a funny combat trick out of this, you're just gonna go like, okay, I gained 2 life. And that's what I spent my whole turn on. Please don't kill me. I think Turtle Stew, it doesn't necessarily have to be Flicker. Like if you want the deck's advantage engine to really thematically feel like it's clue driven, if nothing else, you could use this space for more interaction. Because you said you felt like you were hard up for answers, and so I think take like the worst ninjas and maybe get yourself some good answers. They don't have to be like Deadly Rollick level of generic. Hey, look at this. Bad card, but you can sacrifice an artifact. Hey, look at that. Wow. Hey, look at that. I want to hit people while gaining value, not just sit back. Then yeah, I would say better answers and better creatures to hit with, because like this is Thousand Face Shadow and the other ones we called out are like hit to not really gain value. You can technically gain value, but you're just like, you know, you're like stepping over dollars to pick up pennies. It's not going to overall help you. And then Echo Storm, I truly don't believe in. I don't believe in Haven Ghoul, but it's so cute and it's a land, I'll let you keep it. Don't believe in Herald. Don't believe in Refurbished. Questionable on Thousand Moons. Might I suggest Cloudstone Curio? May I suggest going outside, Timid? This would be very, very strong for replaying the shit out of Warnog. Probably the most based use of Cloudstone Curio in the world. In world history, nobody has ever used Cloudstone Curio for a funnier purpose than bouncing the... And that way, you know what? This way you can actually play that into like, Warnog has no idea about the ninjas. Warnog's getting trampolined out of the shot every time a ninja comes into play. Isn't Delny an auto-include in this deck? Oh, Delny is quite strong here. Yeah, Delny is very, very good for us. And I feel like at least the naming conventions of like scouts, ninjas, lookouts. You know, Delny is Warnog's right hand person who's like in on the heist with the ninjas. Yeah, Warnog is just Mr. Magooing his way through a ninja invasion. I do think that's how you justify Cloudstone Curio, and I think something like that is going to be a lot better for you than one of these worse ninjas. And then you can get just like a counter spell or another piece of targeted removal, and then the deck on its own functions a lot better. So Josh, Cloudstone Curio is not for artifacts entering. Cloudstone Curio is for the situation where, let's just skip ahead a few turns. So I've played all this stuff. I have Warnog out, and then Winged Boots. I have Cloudstone Curio off to the side. I swing my flyer. I ninjutsu in Yuriko. Cloudstone Curio triggers, allowing me to bounce another creature to hand. I bounce Warnog. Main phase 2, I replay Warnog, make more clues. I do that every turn ad infinitum. Because you get a trigger for Warnog entering, and you get a trigger for Warnog leaving. So we want this guy to be in like a revolving door as much as we can. So yeah, I'll give you Cloudstone Curio. I think that's good. And I think it's really good if you want the thrust of the deck to be like, Warnog's just a chill guy. And he has no idea what all this ninja business is about. Warnog is investigating the crime scenes of the ninjas. And every time he leaves, the ninja gets there. I do think this is probably too many lands for your curve. But hey, Snail's a smart guy. True. If you really want to punch this up, fuck the ninjas. Give me the clue snake. Junkwinder is like, if you want to make a souped up control version of this deck, Junkwinder is a very good card. What about Make an Example? No, you never give your opponents choices like this. You never give your opponents choices unless the outcome is rigged from the beginning. I'm going to assign you halfway between Greedy and Tuned Soap Opera. This is definitely a soap opera deck. I think you have the spirit, and I think there are a few tactical changes we could make to cut the actors that just have not been bringing enough engagement from the audience and just replace them with A-listers. That makes sense for the setting. Could Rite of Oblivion work? They have that, actually. They got this already, Helios. What about Pact Doll Terror? This would be good, yeah. You could probably replace another one of the lesser payoffs with this. Honestly, I think this is probably better for the deck than Thousand Moon Smithy is. But it does become more of like Clue Aristocrat-y than than punchy punchy. Chris, I'm not sure why my mic is coming off quiet on TikTok. At the best of times, I never know what is happening with my audio settings. Dire tactics? God, one day. One day. Oh, dire tactics is pretty good, yeah. How many humans are we on? We're on 19, but honestly, like, I don't even think we care if we lose the life. Grey Jedi, yes, we have talked about the new Lotus many, many times. Piper Wright would be good. Piper Wright would be hot. Well, actually, hold on. We're doing a lot of, we're taking our creatures off the board a lot. So tokens, we don't give a fuck about Piper Wright connecting. The problem with Piper Wright is that we're bouncing our own creatures to ninjutsu, and we just talked about potentially putting in Cloudstone Curio. So I think the +1/+1 counter payoff gets a little bit lost on us because we're just going to immediately go. What about Call for Unity? This is impressive for this. I think like it's pretty expensive. It's pretty expensive, so I'm convinced it would be like this is a cute card rather than a like crazy card. But for cute stuff, I fuck with this. I'm fucking with this in a big way, in a delightful way. I'm feeling straight up exuberant about Call for Unity having like 8 Unity counters on it. And then this one, yeah, the fact that we're self-bouncing would no longer non-bow us. So yeah, thank you, Terratrox. I don't want to put Tetsuko in because then we're going to non-bow ourselves with a lot of the other things we want to do. But yeah, you're going to have to... Maybe that for Thousand Moon Smithy. Oh, makes Wernog unblockable every time. That's fair. For ninjutsuing Wernog alone is probably worth it with Tetsuko. Tetsuko is definitely who you swap in for... Where's that one little dumbass 2 mana guy? Either... maybe you keep Dokichi. Nezumi Prowler. 100% you cut Nezumi Prowler for Tetsuko. Madam Peacock. What does she do? Hey, how about you stop lying to me, Jummy Bug? There's no way. Get cocked. God damn it. Oh, Senator Peacock. I think this is too expensive for what we're doing. Oh, right. There's that new frog where whenever something leaves the battlefield without dying... No, there's more than this. Dowerport Mage. If you are willing to expand from the Ninja's game plan, consider this guy. This would be just like a good setup piece, but you're already spread really thin amongst setup pieces. But this would be a good one. Frog Friend, very strong card draw. Definitely better than at least one land. Listen, I'm telling you, I swear to God, definitely better than at least one land. All right. So I think we have now a million ads. I'm going to call out for Skyrat and Skyfall. And if our friends are not here, we're going to look for a raid. Turtle Stew, thanks for sending in the deck. I love the imagery of it. I do think this is a cohesive soap opera that I would watch. It's very like Barney Fife meets Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I do think we can improve the soap opera a little bit because we've gone a little bit crazy on the ninja word cloud disease. But like for sure you have something to work with here. For sure this is better than you playing fucking Tivit. So overall, good job, be proud, hold your head high, and then make those like 20 fucking edits that we suggested. Frog Wizard teaches the ninjas. This is your Master Splinter. Dowerport Mage is your Master Splinter. All right, and I think our other two, either my email got sent to their spam, they're asleep, or I emailed them the wrong day. So we are going to reschedule the other two. Yes, Dark Ritual is socially acceptable, for sure. And we're going to find somebody to raid. Our friend Senpapi Gabe is alive. We're going to raid them. The raid message is going to be Curio Angle. Everybody be very kind to my friend who is playing a confusing game that you should not spoil for them. We will be live again on Saturday doing Ragefire Chasm as a 3-man group in World of Warcraft Hardcore Classic, where we have lost 3 characters to date, and I will piss if I lose the 4th one. Other than that, thank you all for watching, for following, for subscribing, for any amount of financial support you have given me. And remember, deck roasts go on sale and go on sign up this weekend for Patreon and Ko-Fi. So everybody, have a good day. I hope you're having a good week. And remember to stay toxic. YouTube and TikTok, that's just going to be it for us here. Nightshade Hershey, the deck reviews are paid only. So if you do want me to take a look at it, I'm happy to, but it's going to have to be through Ko-Fi or Patreon. If you don't want to spend money, I understand that very well. We have a free Discord that has a deck help section, and so it will not be me personally making fun of it, but if you just want to make a deck mechanically better, our Discord is a phenomenal resource that has a lot of very knowledgeable people who are totally willing to help you with that.